us. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. You see it in the papers, you read it every day. The riots and the fires going on in South LA. The muggers and the government, they're all wanting the same thing. They take you for your money, whatever spring. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. 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 Guitar Players Planet.
Down by the water, maybe I'm a son, maybe I'm a daughter. When the music man calls, that's when I gotta play. So I burn for the things I never had. I'm burning with hate, with love. Spin around, round. 'Cause as a boy I had a dream. Carry it with me today. Yes, I do. When the world stops
Sunny skies, the smell of palm tree air. Looking back, I could never feel fair. The way the music has touched my soul, the way that the South holds its control. But I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to the lands of the new. Oh, na 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 na. That I have lost my old friend. Got the sunset off the highway again. Then I get lost on a long summer day. I must go back before it's too late. You're afraid, you're feeling alone. Time and space can never unfold. The holidays can ring in your fear. The ghost-ring praise can only mean tears. And I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back for lands of blue. Oh, na 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 na. Sitting at the lake, I'm feeling confused, but I had my guitar, so I played this tune. But I'm afraid, what might be true, that I might never be back again. Seems to me that I have lost my friend. Got the sunset off the highway again. Then I get lost for one long summer day. I must be back before it's too late. Before it's too late.
And the dogs are still barking, and Jen is home, and we are online. What's that?
You didn't feed them?
I totally forgot. I did not feed them. Pete, you there?
Yep, I can
Okay,
hear.
good. Awesome. How's it going, everybody? We are online tonight. We are waiting for some of the other members to come join us. They're hanging out with their family and being on the little late side. So here we go. So we are on tonight, and it is Friday night. And as you can see, we got, are these pictures looping? I don't think these pictures are looping. And oh yeah, it's every minute. So just for a placeholder, I put the pictures of the month on the bottom. So they'll kind of go across and kind of hang out until we got some more people to fill in. So I'm glad to see a lot of people made it so far, because unfortunately something's wrong with Meta or Facebook or something out there is not working correctly, and it's not me this time. And and it seems kind of cool that this is the second. I don't know if you're counting. I'm counting. This is the second show in a row. We started off not time-wise perfect, but no glitch, no audio issues perfect. So this is the second time in a row that we kind of was able to do that. So that's a minor victory. Minor victory. But yeah, um so we're here tonight. There's really no kind of topic tonight. We're just hanging in there tonight and talking about astrophotography. I did put the new giveaway. I just literally 2 seconds ago, I just put the Optolong giveaway on the website. So it's up, it's ready to go. You can enter it. It has the list of everything we're giving away, and we're giving away something from Optolong once a month. And I can't even lift this up, it's so heavy. Once a month, we're giving away something last Friday of the month. And there's a list of what we're giving away. And if you win and you choose not and you want to kick it back and let it roll again, let us know. If you have something or can't use it, if you got a 1.25, you need a 2, whatever. But if you want to kick it back, let us know and we can do it. But we're giving away something every Friday at the end of the month, starting in June. And so we have the 1.25-inch planetary filter set, which includes the UV IR cut filter, RGB, and the IR pass at 685 nanometers. Then we have an L Pro, L Enhance, and L Extreme, all 2-inch, and an LRGB 2-inch set, and the SHO 2-inch 3 nanometer set. Yeah, so and that's going to be given away Thanksgiving for a nice Christmas present to someone, and you'll have that. So that's going to be awesome. So let's talk a little bit about our sponsors. I guess we got to talk about our sponsors that are giving us all this like kind of cool stuff, because we got to thank them and we got to thank our member sponsors. So let's talk about them real quick. So thank you for our main sequence level sponsor, Woodland Hills and Telescopes and Night Skies Network, who's going to be on the show in June sometime, I promise you, to tell us what they exactly do and how they kind of broadcast all these rigs all over the world. It's kind of amazing. After that, we got our Red Giant level, who Optolong has now joined the Red Giant trio of Prima Luce, Camera Concepts, and Optolong. So, and if anybody's watching out there, that's either, if you want to become a member sponsor or if you want to be a corporate sponsor, contact me if you want to be a corporate sponsor at dan@astroworldweb.com, and I can get you the packages that we go for. And then if you want to be a member sponsor, go to our Patreon page. Join us on Patreon. You get all these perks and shirts and hats and all this. I made member cards for everybody too. I'm getting corny. I'm making membership cards. So some stuff to go in there. And then we got at our Super Giant level, which we give away something every Friday from these guys until the end of the year. Every Friday from Masters of Pixinsight and IP for AP. If you'd like to, win something from them, sign up for that giveaway as well. After that, we got, of course, our member sponsors. So thank you to John G for our black, and I believe we have a new black hole member sponsor, and I don't know why it didn't make it here. So I apologize on that. I was running a little late doing this, and if I could hold on a second, if I could do it real quick, I'll fix it. But I'll make it up later to you. Sorry, guys. And then our Red Giant members. I know Dennis Hess is in the wrong spot here on this one, so I apologize about that. He's actually a Red Giant member. He's not here. So I apologize about Dennis. I promise I'll fix it on this slideshow for next week. I do apologize. And then our main sequence members, everybody except for Dennis Hess is right. so thank you to all of our member sponsors and everybody who's traversing over to the Patreon site. Thank you so much. If you want to join the Patreon members, I'll throw it into the chat in a second when I'm done yapping. And then our Protostar members, Kieran's Corner and Greg Myers. So thank you so much to them. As everybody knows, last what was it, 2 days ago, Wednesday, we had Richard Wright from Starstone Software. Now, if you haven't seen it, that was a really good show. He actually did it from a Starbucks. It was kind of cool. He had no internet, but it was a really cool, informative, funny show. I thought it was one of our better shows, and go check it out. Go look at it. It's on YouTube. Go check it out. Friday coming up, we got Eric Coles from the Astro Imaging channel, followed by May 20th. We got my buddy Maxi, who is an astrophotographer from Argentina. And then on May 25th, we'll be showing a taped version of the Cribs Woodhouse show, who is the author of Capturing the Universe. And if you haven't seen that book on Facebook being plastered all over the place, then you're not friends with anybody in astrophotography, because it's all over the place. So you get 20% off. I got a copy of it. It's really, really good. So go grab it. And of course, if you want to check us out on any of our other social media platforms, go join our Discord channel. Join it. I want to get 100 members on that thing, because the more people we have, the more information that's out there to help everybody. There's so much good content out there that we have out there. People answering questions now. Just imagine what it could be if we have double the members on there. So go grab the Discord. I'll throw that in the chat on YouTube as well. And feel free to do. Our Twitch membership is growing. We got 30 members on Twitch, which I thought I would never get into double digits. But it's going really, really good with that. And then our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram is doing well. So thank you for all the people who are supporting us on those platforms as well. All right. Eric is in the chat, and he just jumped into the screen. So let's see if I could get the 4 up. Let's see, 4 up? No, 3 up. Let's see if I could do this real quick. Eric, I'll get you on right now. Give me a second. And settings, and 50 is now Eric. Where's Eric? There you go, number 18. And he's got the hoodie on. Hold on a second. And there we go. And we got Eric. He is like the guy from Dune. Who is that? Yeah, or a Jedi. They always did that in the prequel. They always took the robe. They took the robe off, and that they always had to take the robe off in this grandiose gesture. But
so Dan, I got a call from Richard Wright.
Yeah, you were telling me.
Yeah, actually, it was Thursday night. Yeah, last night. He gave me a call. He said he had an absolute blast, that he can't wait to come back on the show. So he's going to wait about 2 or 4 months, and then he's going to kind of come up with some new developments that he's got. He wants to be able to have something new to present for us. But he really had a great time. So to the viewer membership, thanks, guys. He absolutely enjoyed it. Loved the questions. So he just wanted to kind of reach out and just say thank you. He enjoyed himself.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, big ups to the membership and everybody who was able to join in and participate. Throwing questions out there and stuff like that. So
that was some really good questions.
There were some really good questions out there, and that's what really drives, the show. It can go as so long as when you have this participation, and really great questions are getting asked and stuff like that. It's awesome. So thank you again to Richard, for joining. Thank you to the viewers for participating. This is what makes the show successful.
Absolutely. And somebody just threw out there, who's Gideon, my buddy Gideon from, what is it, Gideon? France, Europe, Australia, New York, Jersey. We're, I always throw them all over the world. But Tim's welcome. He's in the chat right now. He knows he's more than welcome to come back on the show whenever he wants. So it's just the timing doesn't work out sometimes. So Tim is, I'm sorry, I mixed up Tim and Tom, but Tom, you're welcome on the show too. I meant Tom, but Tim Cowell, he's more than welcome to come back on the show whenever he wants.
Absolutely.
I know he's gotten better. I know he's all over his the Facebook, the Backyard Astro Imaging Club. And
Yeah.
you know, I know he's all over that. He's all over the chat. He's pumping iron. I see him, you know, pushing it. I'm like, dude, you're fine, man. Come on, come back on the show.
Tim is one of the OGs, you
Yep.
know, of AstroWorld. So
Yep,
you know.
he is the second. He is OG 2. Charlie Walsh is OG 1. You know, so sorry, I had to drink some whiskey. I had such a bad day.
Yeah, I had to drink it. I had to get a shot of whiskey.
I had to do it.
But you know what? It's listening, you know, and chatting with Richard has really, you know, given me some ideas as far as my imaging, and I'm really going to try to do imaging without guiding, and I really want to see, you know, these short exposures, extended period short exposures, and I want to test it out and see how far I can take it, you know, with the CEM 60. Maybe it's, you know, 10 seconds, maybe it's 30, whatever it is, without, you know, getting that star trailing, and just go from there. And
Yeah, I mean, I literally have. I'm still working on the PowerPoint. I have an astrophotography talk that I'm doing tomorrow night, and if anybody wants to come and check it out, it's free. If you're it's strictly for beginners. It's about getting into astrophotography on a budget. I mean, like under 750. You know, so you know, it's all about that. It's an hour. If you want the Zoom link, hit me up. It's a free talk that we're doing with Camera Concepts. But if you want the link, let me know. I'll just send it to you. Just hit me up on the email, either way, or on the Discord channel. But
you know, speaking of that, I was on Facebook just I believe it you know, I'm on Facebook all the time. But yesterday someone made a comment.
You're not on Facebook.
But someone made a comment in the astrophotography for beginners
Okay.
group, and made a comment that they were about their frustration level of maybe certain people within the group giving them a hard time because they're just getting started, and they're getting started on a budget, and that he was feeling very discouraged by some of the comments that were being made, because he felt that everybody was just trying to push him towards, oh, you got to spend all this money, you got to do this, you got to do that.
Nope.
You know, and not really listening to him or to his questions. And so, you know, you doing this on tomorrow on Zoom, it just really struck a chord with me, thinking about that message in that conversation. I actually invited the person, you know, I made a post and said, hey, why don't you, you know, if he's interested, he can come on to, you know, come here, you know, ask questions, you know, no, you know, don't feel, you know, what, you know, that, you know, discouraged or anything like that coming here.
Absolutely.
And that we're, you know, we've all started somewhere.
Yeah.
And we've all have a budget. We're all not gazillionaires. We all can't drop down, you know, buckets of money and stuff like that. It's not realistic, especially nowadays, to be doing stuff like that. But people, they are genuinely interested in the hobby, and they just want to get started somewhere. And to have that happening to this particular person was kind of, you know, upsetting to me a little bit, and also disheartening, you know, when they get to this point, because it pushes people out of the hobby. You know, it gets them discouraged and gives them, and it almost makes them want to give up.
Yeah, and you know what? I know we always talk about it, and so we talk about it and we're serious about it, but
yeah,
we always talk about, you know, the buy once, cry once thing. You know what I mean? But here's the thing. Yeah, buy once, cry once, but you got to understand that you don't need to do something like what Scott did and jump in the hole, like, you know, and you're got the water 10 feet over your head. You know, he bought a super rig. He's got background in photography, so he wanted to get to that point fast. You don't have to do that. You don't have to spend $15,000 to start. You could spend. Okay, I didn't want to scare anybody, Scott, but you know.
But yeah, but you can. I mean, it's the thing we keep talking about is let's just start talking about using what you have.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start out there. And if you have a DSLR, okay, you have a DSLR, you maybe have, if you want to make a small investment on maybe some lenses, like the Rokinon 135 is a great lens for astrophotography. It's a great prime lens for AP. If you want to think about getting other lenses, like I've seen, some 100, 400, zoom lenses, stuff like that. Get a simple tracker. Start out with getting a tracker, either the move, shoot, move, or or the others that are out there.
Oh, you can get anything.
From
The move,
and
shoot,
whatever.
moves. You got the Sky Guider Pro if you want to go crazy. You also got the new the Star Adventure GTI version, not the AZ GTI, the newer one that just came out like 2 weeks ago. It's the AZ GTI Killer. It's their new version of it. There's so many different things that you can do.
Lower cost. The CEM6, the CEM25, the AZT. I mean, heck, the AVX. The AVX. As much as I give it, all kinds of mess.
Oh, you give it all grief.
I give it due, but it was what I got started with, and it is very reasonable.
And Eric, I would give it grief too if I put the counterweights on and I put it horizontal and let it go and it didn't move. I would give it a little grief too.
Right. But you get what I'm saying. We all start somewhere.
Yeah.
We all have questions. And, that's one thing I love about this show, about this community, is that for the most part, when people really are interested and are genuinely interested and want to get started, you ask questions, people will give you answers, unbiased answers, and they'll be cool about it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to get off my soapbox, but because we talk about this ad nauseum at times.
Well, guess what I'm getting to play with next month? I'm getting the Stellina.
Oh, for a second I thought you were going to say the AM5, but
no. Please, I got too much stuff on that I'm paying off that I can't. I got the 9 1/4.
I thought you were just going to get one so you can try it out and
Oh no, I'm going to get that too, but I'm getting the Stellina too. So and then in September I'll have the Vespera. So
nice.
So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Well, did you hear that Ioptron is coming out with their own now harmonic drive mount?
And Pegasus too.
The only problem is that it's going to be. I think it's only going to have the drive in one axis. I think it's going to be an RA. It's going to actually have it in deck axis.
Yeah, Pegasus is coming out with their Nix too. I think it's called the Nix. That they're coming up with that, and that's dual. That's a regular. That's a dual axis. Just like it looks a little rounder than the AM5. AM5 is very boxy, little box.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool. I can't wait to see it. I already got two. I got two pre-orders for the Pegasus one. So
yeah, it's funny. It's just that I can remember starting with an Astro Track back in 2012.
Oh, those things sucked.
Trust me. But you know what? I mean, there was really no Star Tracker at the time, right? I mean, it was the only show in town. And believe me, it was just an effort in futility. But as like Eric said, we all had to start somewhere, right? So that's where I started. Like 3 weeks later, I sold it.
Yep, kind of like me with the what was it, the Sharp Star Mark III.
Yeah.
and the Stellar Mate.
Oh, the Stellar Mate.
Yeah, the one that you just
that I had to take off I had to take it off YouTube because I was asked to. I threw it across the room. But I had that. We all had to start somewhere, and even I started with a 60mm Meade refractor. I mean, that was my first kind of scope that I spent over like $300 on back in I don't know, mid 80s, late 80s, something like that. And took some pictures, put my camera in there, didn't get anything, had to send it to the photomat to get developed because it was film, it was a very different time. And I think that's was a good point that Richard came up with on Wednesday night about how fast things are evolving in the lifestyle of astrophotography. Eric, I think you might be muted, or
I was.
there
I
you
just
are.
got off.
Okay, good.
Myself off mute.
I thought I saw the mouth move and the head
No, it's
move.
like,
and,
oh no, I was like, oh yeah, it's like, my gosh.
yeah, I mean, and when he was speaking of the death of auto guiding and all that kind of stuff, I don't know. I hear what he's saying. I get the small, the exposures, and you don't need to guide. But I'm sorry, Rich. I hate saying it, but I'm still gonna guide. I'm gonna guide for a little while longer.
And it's okay. I mean, it's something that so many of us, all of us, I can say, for if I can speak for all of us, we're used to it. This is what we've been doing for years.
Yep.
It's not the norm for us to not guide, right? It's not the regular thing,
No.
either doing PhD or, with my ASI Air or whatever else. It's the thing that keeps also kind of, that's been consistently talked about.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want to do long exposures, and long exposures are the key, you got to guide and stuff like that. But
it's either guide or spend $15,000 on a mount.
Yeah.
So.
And to Richard's point as well is that the CMOS cameras have gotten so much better. Everything has gotten so much better when it comes to cameras. That you really his comments about you really don't need to guide anymore because of the quality, the QE, the read noise, and so many other factors of these new sensors and these new cameras. You can get to a point where it's gonna, the guiding could, be a thing, that goes the way of the dodo at some point.
But
you never know.
Just like my CCD cameras.
Eric, I hear you, but believe me, when we start talking narrowband and you're starting to shoot 30, 45, an hour narrowband, you got to do guiding. Believe me. You look at mounts right now that can track, say, 12 to 15 minutes, say an LRGB unguided, that's fine. But I mean, when you get narrowband, we're talking interference filters. They're only going to allow that particular transmission bandpass of wavelengths to pass through. So if you got a low surface brightness target, you got to have guiding. There's no question about it.
Yeah, and you know what?
You make a very valid point.
I'm not. There's until I move, there is no way in hell am I doing anything over 20 minutes, because I am in the pathway of 3 international airports. Satellites are one thing, 757s are something else. So, and they come right across. I'm right in the landing, right on Long Island. I got JFK and LaGuardia to the west, and I got Islip to the east and MacArthur to the east. I got 4 airports going over. I got 757s over me all day. So that's not happening. But to your point, Pete, if you can and you have skies that are good enough to do that 40, 50, 60-minute exposures, I mean, unless you have an encoder-driven $15,000+ mount, you're going to need to do some sort of guiding.
You are. You guys make valid points. Both of you do. So
I can also see when he was talking about taking, like, say, maybe 3,000 1-minute exposures.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, there's something about a challenge that I need when I do this hobby. And this is the reason I got into it, is that, this definitely tests our challenge, and it tests our logical thought process to say, okay, what's the process of elimination? What is it? Is it computer related? Is it hardware related? Is it software related? So, the idea is that, yeah, we can go out there and anybody can take a pretty picture, but we're not taking pretty pictures. We're actually being the artist taking the photograph. And you're right, only you can appreciate the time, the investment, the cost that went into getting that photograph, that when people come in and they go, oh my God, look at that image. It makes you feel good because only you can appreciate the time that you had to invest to get it where it's at right now. Not just in taking the photograph, but also in the post-processing end of it. You know, that's the secret.
Yeah, absolutely. It's. I always thought of it as a game. I guess that's why I like it, because it's like a puzzle game. You know what I mean? It's like you know what, if you're a Doom player and you keep on getting killed by the same enemy and you never see him and he's in that corner of that room that you never turn to look at, and until finally you're like, oh man, he's right there, bam, and it's the same thing with astrophotography. It really is, because you know what? You're like, oh man, my guiding, it sucks. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Let me fool around with this. Let me fool around with that. Let me do this. Blah, blah, blah. And then until you get it, and then you leave it. Oh, my backspacing is not good. My stars are all going around in a circle. What do I got to do? What do I got to do? Oh, well, you know, you need more or less backspacing. Okay, you get it. You set it and forget it. And it's kind. I think of it as a troubleshooting game. And you know, if you're in anything that has to do with troubleshooting, whether in your personal, private, or you know, or hobby, that's what it all is. It's all about navigating the obstacles and figuring out the way to kind of make them work for you or overcome it.
You know, Dan, I can remember my generation on Saturdays when you got your first vehicle. The rite of passage on a Saturday was to get together with a couple of your buddies and you change out the head or the carburetor, you know, on your car, right? You can't do that anymore. So this is the reason why I got into this hobby, because it just kind of circumnavigated that. That was my Saturday project, right? I mean, as I said, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's only you that really enjoy the hobby and the challenge that goes with it. They will only truly appreciate what it is that you've got.
Yeah.
What do you think, Scott? You're kind of quiet over there, man.
That's had a rough day today.
I'm just sitting here, you know, listening. Yeah. I think one of the things we do a great disservice, you know, well, not necessarily us, but people in the sales hobby, you know, that, or even people that are looking at doing this, they want an all-in-one machine, and this ain't the hobby for that. You know, exactly. I mean, there are people that want that from photography, and I'm sorry, but a 14 millimeter prime ain't the same as a 300 millimeter zoom, and the two of them do two very different things.
Yeah,
you know, and so, you know, we do people a great disservice by not addressing that and saying, like what Dan has said for a long time, what Pete has said for a long time, you know, and Eric has said for a long time, you know, what kind of imaging do you want to do? You know,
yeah.
What targets do you want to look at? You know, because how you look at nebula is going to be very different from how you look at galaxies. How you look at planets is going to be very different from how you look at globular clusters. You know, and so, you know, I think you have to figure out what you want. What do you want? What do you want to start? And pick a place and start there. Get good at that. That was one of the things that my father taught me years ago, you know, when it came to imaging and cameras, you know, because I wanted to jump in and spend all this crazy money on all these lenses. And don't get me wrong, I actually did that. But, you know, when I was a lot younger, he said, pick a lens. Doesn't matter body, pick a lens. Master that lens. Get very, very comfortable with that lens, you know, and then move on.
Yeah.
And that's what I did, you know. I think the same thing applies here with telescopes. Pick a scope, pick a target, the kinds of targets that you want to shoot, you know, find a good match in cameras and telescopes for that particular target, get really, really good at that, then move on.
Yeah. And as you said, Eric, this is a testament to what you said earlier. And this is kind of what Richard was talking about is that he can go to these star parties and he'll go see an AVX or something. He says, you know what? I'll produce a better image than what you've got with your $25,000 rig. You're right. Hone your skill set on something that you can afford. Because once you get it honed and once you get your skill set honed in, believe me, it'll be so much easier when you do decide to kind of upgrade. And that's the most important thing. It's just right now, just jump into the deep end of the pool, just work with what you've got and just hone your skill set. Because truly, if you get good data, it doesn't matter what equipment you're using, what camera you're using. If you got good raw data, you can do anything in post-processing with good raw data. No question about it. So that's the key is that you've really got to kind of focus on your post-processing technique.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
some of the most
sure.
pathetic people that get into this hobby are the ones that have huge amounts of disposable income, and they buy, crazy, 50, 60, 80, $100,000 rigs, and they never learn. They all of a sudden they realize, oh, this is actually work. This is hard. This requires, some commitment. This requires some learning on my part. I can't just push a button and get what I want. Yep. Those are some of the most pathetic ones, because they're all their beautiful equipment winds up sold someplace, and they never go. So, I hold to my original, find something you like, find a target you like, find a good scope and camera that works, master it.
Yep.
Then move on.
Now there's a few comments here that I want to bring in from the group here and from the membership, like Tom Bramwell. One comment he says is, I encourage those members here that are tight on funds and might not be able to afford an Eagle to register to win one this summer. We'd love to see you win. Absolutely. Yeah. We have been I consider us being very lucky and very blessed to have the opportunity for Tom to go out of his way to help design and build us this incredible custom Eagle.
Yeah.
What is it called? The Eclipse? Like the Eclipse?
I'm going to pronounce it wrong. It's like Eclipse. It's like an eclipse,
Yeah.
I don't have the Italian accent. We'll have to get Filippo to do an ad, so.
Yeah. I mean,
Eclipse,
that's
the Eclipse.
incredible.
This computer, it's the Eclipse, the AstroWorld's Eclipse.
Exactly. So, there's that. I mean, Cap, exactly. We got to crawl, then we walk. It's like, and then we run. That's the progression.
I agree.
It's the progression.
It is.
You get there.
You just got to take it. I mean, there are people out there, and it's kind of like winning the lotto. It's 1 in a million, where somebody can kind of go out there and spend this absurd amount of money and come up with an awesome scope in the first, couple of weeks. It's not going to happen. And I think Scott hit the nail on the head. What was it? A couple of shows ago, where actually it was Wednesday night, where you said that you got to have the experience and the troubleshooting know-how, because when things go wrong, and things will go wrong, it will happen. It happens to every single one of us still.
Yep.
Things happen. One night, one night you do 9 hours or 8 hours and nothing goes wrong. And then the next night you can't take a picture to save your life. And, things just happen. But you need to be able to have the knowledge of the equipment to figure it out, or at least have somebody around that you could ask and get somebody that has the knowledge. But you got to kind of, RTFM, read the manual, but it's you got to kind of do it. And I hate reading manuals. I don't read manuals. I'm lying if I told you if I read a manual. I don't. But it probably would have saved me hours of torture if I did.
And to add to that too, Scott, because I know you and I can attest to this, because we have to do this every day, because this is what we do. I'll get the phone call and the person will say, I'm just getting into it. And so the very first thing I'm going to say is, you know what? I'm going to recommend a book that you get. When you get this book, call me back within about 2 weeks, because you're going to hear certain terms that we're going to discuss, and you got to understand what those terms are. But when they start talking about, well, you know, that thingamajig that fits on the back of the focuser that kind of does that little doohickey, and you're going, sir, I have no clue what you're talking about. Are you talking about the rough, coarse focus knob? Are you talking about the pinion assembly? They're just glazed over. So you're absolutely right. I mean, know your equipment, know exactly what you're getting yourself into, because you're going to definitely be reaching out to people, and you're going to have to discuss, and you're going to have to kind of know what you're talking about in terms of the name of certain component parts. And then to kind of take it one step further, don't start on a hard celestial target your first night out. Get an easy target. Look at something that's kind of easy, something that might be like an H2 region that's got a lot of hydrogen alpha. But don't start looking at something that's a planetary nebula when you're only got an 80 millimeter refractor. You know, there's just nothing going to happen there. So once again, start to understand what you're going after based upon the vocal length of your scope, because you got to really start to kind of think that this is what I've got to use this instrument for. You're not going to be shooting planetary nebulas with an 80 millimeter scope. So definitely, it's just a little bit of work that you're going to have to do, a little bit of reading, a little bit of research, and then tuning into AstroWorld on Wednesdays and Friday nights.
Exactly.
You know what it really is coming down to, if you think about it, you can learn just about anything you want to by watching videos on the internet. Now, some of the stuff it's just garbage. Okay, it's garbage. You got to be careful. However, if you get with a group of like-minded people, and here's the trick. This is the secret. Okay, you have to be surrounded by people that are principle-based. If they're principle-based, doesn't matter what the technique is. Makes no difference what the technique is, because the principle will always dictate the technique. The problem that we have is we have people that are trying to dive into technique, and they're forsaking the principle, and they're getting lost.
Yep.
So you know the one that the movie. I know I'm gonna get some laughs, and people are gonna poke fun at it, but I can't help it. The Karate Kid.
What about hey? Don't mess with my Karate Kid.
Okay, now you remember when
bit of a body bag.
Remember when Daniel was he was begging Mr. Miyagi, right? And Miyagi had him working his full tail off, wax the car, paint the fence, sand the floor, right? And Daniel was getting fed up. And all of a sudden, Miyagi came out and he says, "Show me sand the floor. Show me this. Show me wax on wax up. Show me paint the fence." And all of a sudden, Miyagi came at him, and and Daniel was all about that. Because why? Because he taught him principle.
Exactly.
No, he actually taught him muscle memory, but
well, that too. Yeah,
no, but you're right. Absolutely, Scott. You're absolutely right. You know, and I love that movie. I love the movie. I love Cobra Kai. I love it. I think they're all awesome. But you're right. And it's all about and what it really is all about with that whole analogy with Mr. Miyagi and Daniel and all that. It's all about doing things over and over and over again until you get into a rhythm of doing it and doing and do it. And you know what? Even though that Daniel had that muscle memory and had that routine and had everything, did he lose a point at the final match with Johnny?
Sure.
Yeah, he lost 2. So you know what? Things happen. Mistakes happen. Things go wrong. Not all of us can do a flying eagle move at the end and cure everything. You know?
You know what? Cap made a great point here. If you can and will take notes as you image and you know and process, and you'll be able to repeat those results.
Yeah, well, as you said, you learn by your mistakes, you grow by your successes.
Learn by mistakes.
Absolutely. You're going to make mistakes, but you got to learn those mistakes, because once again, you'll start to grow by those little successes. So it's going to be little baby steps. Like Cap said, you learn to crawl, you learn to walk, and then you run.
Exactly. Pete, you're absolutely right. That's my favorite quote from Walt Disney. You know, from learning from success, we don't learn very much, you know, but from failure, we learn a lot. We keep moving forward, you know. And that is that's one of the greatest lines that's in that movie, Meet the Robinsons, you know, where they were applauding him for making a mistake, and they were like, "Yeah, you failed," you know. It's like, wait a minute, what? You know,
Yeah.
and it's very true. You know, we learn on our knowledge base is accrued on the backs of all of our mistakes. And if you never make a mistake in life, man, let me tell you something. You've got a milquetoast, bland, you know, flavorless life.
It's funny. Every time I go out, I keep a little journal, a handwritten journal, and I write down notes, what I've done, what my exposure time is, what my celestial target is, what my RA, what my deck was, so that any time that I want to come back to that same target, I've already got those notes there, because there's no way you're going to be ever remember any of this stuff. And I'm going to always write down what the conditions were, what the humidity was, what the temperature was, all this stuff you can get off of apps and things like that to know. But as I said, if you keep a journal, believe me, you'll keep going back to that journal. And then you'll be able to start to plan that you can say, okay, even though this target now is a winter target, I know now that when it comes back up the following year, what I'm going to go ahead and shoot for. So let's say I wanted to shoot luminance and say RGB. The next year, I know I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to shoot the same target, but maybe I'll shoot it with HA03S2.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, we're using computers for the most part. A lot of us are using laptops, you know, when you get started, you know, to do your sequencing. You know, you have technology at your fingertips, you know, especially if you have a Windows computer. Bring up a notepad really quick and start taking, or OneNote or whatever, you know, Word. Take, you know, while you're doing your sequencing, while you're doing the guiding, why, you know, since you're already there working on, you know, your session or whatever you're doing, your phone, what have you, start typing about notes. If you have your phone, heck, you got to probably, you know, the smartphone to have recorders, start talking, just simply start talking, save your notes, you know, through audio or whatever. Because trust me, you're going to need to come. I almost guarantee at some point, you're going to have to want to come back to that and come back to that reference and say, what was that? What did I do? You know, because sometimes, you know, especially as we get older, I know I also speak for myself, I start forgetting stuff. So,
Prevagen works. Prevagen is good.
You see this? This is just one page, just one folder in my phone that I have for just things that I've thought about, quotes and thoughts.
Quotes and thoughts.
Look, and these are all files. This is just stuff that I have, you know, and I keep, and I can go quick back to and reference. You're absolutely right, Pete. And Eric, you have to journal.
Right, quote.
Yeah,
I do the same thing. You have to journal. You know, no matter what it is, if it's important, if it's something that's important to you, if it's something that you are wanting to learn and get good at. You know, as a kid, I used to hate taking notes. I didn't see the value, you know, in many times when I was younger in taking notes and doing this or doing that. But trust me, the older you get and the wiser you get, you understand the value of taking notes.
The biggest problem I've got today is that I need notes for my notes.
Need reminders for the notes. Absolutely.
You know, Dennis mentioned something really quick. He threw out a question. When we were talking about mounts, we were briefly talking about mounts and the inexpensive mounts and stuff like that. He's asking, you know, we brought in Pete, you brought up like Ioptron and Pegasus are bringing out harmonic drive mounts. He was asking, so are non-harmonic mounts going to become a thing of the past? What do you guys think? What are you? I don't think so.
I missed that, Eric. Repeat that.
Are non-harmonic driven mounts going to become a thing of the past? I don't personally think so.
No.
I highly doubt it. EQ mounts, central, you know, CEMs, non-harmonic driven mounts are still going to be around. They're going to be around for a long time.
I think there'll be another evolution, just as we went to belt-driven mounts from Worm Gear. I think there's going to be another evolution in the EQ. We already started with encoding mounts. So, I mean, there's going to be another. Pretty soon, encoders will drop down in price. and another evolution will occur. And it
That's the way
will
it's
keep on
always.
evolving like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
You remember the very first flat screen you bought, Dan?
It depends what you call. Oh, what I bought that was a flat screen was not a flat screen. I mean, this thing was
That thick.
no. This
Oh,
thing
no,
was
no, no.
thicker than that.
Yeah. I remember my first flat screen. I think it was a Samsung DLP.
I remember the
And,
DLPs.
remember the DLPs, the
Yep.
rear projection.
That's
It
what
was
I
a flat
had.
screen.
No, I
It
had
was
the
a flat
front.
screen.
I had the front projection
Yeah.
where you had
Okay.
to pull. You had to pull the colors out from a tray in front of the TV, and it projected onto the TV.
I remember those. Yeah.
That's what I had.
But
Yeah.
let's
My
talk
first
about
flat
this
screen
harmonic
was a
drive, though, right? Like, remember, like we were talking the other day, is that cameras aren't really made for our particular hobby. They're more
No,
made
they've
for, once
never.
again,
No,
security.
they're not intended.
So if we look at a harmonic drive, right, the technology really wasn't made for our hobby, but it's trickled down into our hobby. So you're right. There's always going to be a niche market for portable rigs. And so it is a great technology that's been welcomed in. But no, I don't think it will ever replace worm and gear driven or direct drive. It's just going to be another potential
just happened?
application that you can use.
What happened?
Hold on. I hit the
Lost
wrong
Pete.
button. Sorry.
There you go.
Sorry.
You're tinkering. You're tinkering,
Dan,
aren't you?
It's Dan.
Dan's tinkering.
You have no idea what I'm doing, Eric. I have so many ideas. See, like Eric's thoughts and quotes in his. I don't have the patience or the time to write things down. So I need to have to. When I don't do something and I don't act on it right away, it's gone. It's gone. And that's why when you go in and there's a thing in here, and you can't see it, but it's called Prologue. And that's what it's called. That was written June 26th, 2020. That's when I wrote this. This is the first prologue of a book that I'm writing that I've only got 3 pages to. So I mean, I've had so many ideas in cars that about this book that I want to get going, but it's just I need to act on things right away. And too bad I'm not, retired that I could do that. I actually have to work for a living, and my thoughts go. Whoop.
Well, also one of the things. Oh, go ahead, Pete.
Get one of these, because I tell you what, these things are going to be your Bible. Because once again, I don't see if you can see it, but case in point, I'll
It's like
have
a day planner.
Well, what it is it's something that I've kind of come up with, but it's my shorthand that I know exactly what I did a year ago. So if I go up to my location, I can say, okay, this is exactly now what I'm going to do to get set up. And it makes it so much easier because I can remember going back to this particular date. And so with the FITS file, I know what the image was because I got the FITS header, and then I can say, okay, now I know that's a corresponding date from where it was, say, a year ago or 6 months ago. So you're absolutely right. Digital is great, but I don't know if you can actually get a template to be able to write down shorthand something real quick that you need to do during the time that after you've set up at twilight before it actually gets to astronomical twilight that you can start imaging. You've got that time to be able to start doing your notes. So Eric's got it. Yep.
That's why I have it right. I still have my notebooks still over here somewhere. To Dennis's point, pencil right there.
Yep.
Old reliable. Old number 2 never failed me. I could always find a sharpener. So You're absolutely right, Dennis, and you're absolutely right, Pete. The technology, it's here. It's not going away. It is here, but to your point, Pete, shorthand, I don't know shorthand, but you know what? Something like this, as long as I keep it in a safe place, I always know where it is. I can always grab it, refer to it, whatever. So a quick segue or shift a bit. I got a question on guiding, and I want to get you guys' take on it because I finally was able to get outside 2 days ago.
Okay.
Even for a brief time. And then I gave up because my guiding went to crap. And I'm struck, and and it's one of the things, and I'm using the Edge 8, so I'm using the Schmidt Cassegrain. Got it collimated, everything is fine. I just don't understand why I have a great numbers for about I want to say maybe 20 seconds, and then all of a sudden either the deck or the RA, it could be sometimes it's random, just goes off. It'll just go off, it'll just just spike out of nowhere, and it's no rhyme or reason. It's not like it was hardly any wind. I'm talking about like maybe 3 miles per hour winds, stuff like that. And it was just frustrating. Here I am, I'm trying to actually image M106, the M106 group, because you've got a lot of smaller galaxies, right there next to it. And everything looks great. And then all of a sudden something clicks, something happens, and then it settles down again, and then it clicks again. And then it just jerks. And it's almost, and then I get the image, and then I've got these small trails, because either the deck at one moment just for some reason wanted to go goofy, and the RA is still like at 0.38. It's like flat. And then and I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm already in bed. I'm just gonna shut this damn thing down and go to sleep, and I'll figure it out and I'll try it again. I know, Scott, you've got a Schmidt. If anybody else has a Schmidt, I don't know if it's a Schmidt thing, because I'm using the OAG. I just don't sometimes I'm trying to figure out what to look for. And honestly, I haven't had a chance to go into the logs yet. I think that's gonna have to be my next thing. That should have been probably my first thing to do, is to check the logs.
What's your settling time? Take a look at your settling time. You might not have enough settling time, because if you don't give it enough settling time, then you're going to definitely get that. So, Eric, you may have to extend out your settling time just to be able to kind of get it smoothed out. So that's one possibility to look at.
Okay. Settling time. Okay.
Atmospheric.
Cool. Yeah. All right.
The atmospheric.
It could be. Because we've been having so many clouds and so much goofiness, and Midwest weather just frustrates the heck out of me sometimes. So it could be. It could be atmospheric.
And what's your seconds? How many seconds are you using for your exposures? And
that's what I was going to ask.
This is in PhD too, right?
I'm using ASI Air, so it has its own version of PhD.
Okay.
And I was doing 2-minute exposures.
Okay, but what's your exposure for your guiding? Is it 3 seconds?
Oh, for the guiding, I was at 4 seconds. Yeah, I was at 4 seconds.
So that's good. That's good. Yeah, 3 to 4 seconds is good, because otherwise you're going to be chasing the scene.
Yeah,
right.
I was at 4 seconds. Okay.
So the only thing, check your settling time, and as you said,
check my settling time.
It definitely could be the fact that you got an upper atmosphere. I mean, once again, your jet stream. There's no way that you could check out your jet stream or the jet stream if it's kind of overhead.
Mm-hmm. I have to take a look, and see. I'll have to get on there's a couple web apps or websites that show, they give me some decent weather information. I have to take a look and see if there was a jet stream that going on. Maybe that. I'm not really sure for some, I don't understand that. And maybe, sure, maybe other people don't. How would the jet stream, if there is a jet stream above me, can you explain to me how that really can affect certain things? Like,
oh my goodness! All you have to do is look at what happens to cold water when you put warm water in it, or vice versa. You put cold air into warm air, you're going to get crazy turbulence, and that's going to screw with you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And as I said, the key once again is just take a look at your full width half maximum or your HFD. If that's fluctuating quite a bit, that tells you that you got some serious turbulence going on up above you that you don't know of, because that star is going to be scintillating quite a bit. So that's another indication. But as I said, it's funny. Okay. Is really, like as Scott said, is you just maybe at boundary where you've got two air masses coming together. Even though you think that maybe the storm has passed, it's usually on the cold side, the back side is the cold front that's coming through, because it usually rains on the warm front. So, you know, you're right. Wait a day or so afterwards, and then you'll see that your seeing will definitely have a tendency to settle down.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
and
and
if it's
see,
you know just
this.
one other thing.
No,
with
go
that,
ahead, Dan. Go
I mean,
ahead. Go ahead.
if it's just intermittent, is it just intermittent like that, where it just is good and then it's crap and then it goes back to good, or is it good and it's crap and it continues to be crap?
It was a mixture of both. I actually recalibrated. I'm not sure, you know, it was a mix. So it was at one moment it was nice for about 20, I'd say like 30 seconds, almost a minute. Then it went to crap, and then it stayed that way for a while.
What's your
Right?
declination
It was
backlash?
just.
Well,
sorry?
yeah, declination
What's your
backlash.
declination backlash? Have you measured that?
No, I haven't.
It's only in deck, right? Okay, it's only in deck, right? We're not talking RA. We're talking
Yes,
declination.
deck. It was
right?
only in deck.
Yeah.
It was only in deck.
So you could definitely have potential declination backlash too, because once again, what's the mount? The G, is it the celestron
It's
mount?
a C. It's a CM 60. It's a Ioptron CEM 60.
You can adjust that backlash in mount, can't you, Pete? Isn't there a way to do that?
That's a good question. I don't know anything about the Ioptron mounts because I've never used one, and I've only used like the higher end mounts, so I don't know about the CGEMs. So
Right.
I think Quiv had a video on it.
He did.
Yep.
And Ernie made a good point. When was the last time you ran your guiding assistant in PA? Oh, you don't have one. You don't have.
I don't have one. I don't have.
You know what? You may want to just download PhD2 and just run some of the tools on there on the side, and you know, and get an idea of what's going on, because see, that's one of the ASIR is really good, but you know that there's so much more you could do with the full-blown version of the program, and you could troubleshoot a little bit more.
Laughing, but you know what? I agree, and this is one of the reasons why I am sincerely, even though the ASIR is never going to go away from me, it's going to be a part of what I do for a lot of things. I'm sincere. You be quiet.
Where's he going? What's he doing?
I am sincerely, you know, I'm working on even on my desktop here on my new computer, and I've got it on my laptop. I've installed it on my new rig. I've installed Nina.
Okay.
You know, and I will, and I'm probably going to get with you, Dan, at some point to help me so I can get through and get the initial stuff going so I can work with Nina. And get PhD2 and everything else. So it is going to come. It's going to be in the arsenal. It's going to be in the, either, you know, sitting there on either the laptop or my desktop here. Because like one of my plans is I've got this, I think I got like a 75-foot active USB 3 cable.
Yep.
I'm actually going to run this thing into the basement.
Come on, man.
I'm going to put it in conduit, and I'm going to bury it and all that stuff. And I'm also
I gotta have you come to my house when I get that telestation built.
Because it's going to happen. But anyway, so
well, AZ4 runner Jason just threw out a question regarding PhD guiding. Is a longer exposure better or worse for PhD2 guiding?
Well, there's a sweet spot.
I've heard it's the you know, if you can get it a little bit longer, you know, like that 4 seconds, 3, 4, 5 seconds. I heard it.
Yeah.
I thought I heard it.
Yeah, 3 to 4 seconds is fine, because if you get less than that, you're chasing the seeing, and you don't want to be chasing the seeing. So give it at least 3 to 4 seconds minimum.
Yeah, I use 2.5, and I seem to get good results. It really depends on a couple of things. I got crap skies in New York. It's just horrible. And, you know, even though my seeing's probably the worst in the country next to LA,
Tokyo.
Well, I'm talking US. I'm not talking, you know, I'm not talking New Delhi or something, you know, but you know, the whole thing is that, you know, 2.5 seems to be good for me and my 127. However, it's not good for, let's say, my 150 or my 9.25. I may have to go a little bit longer or shorter, depending on your image train, depending on your seeing. You know, that oscillation of the star is going to be affected by it. Like, I'm in a jet stream, so my stars go every couple seconds. You know, so that's going to affect my seeing. So should I maybe guide at 3, 3.5, 4? Maybe, but you got to say, we don't want to get stuck. We say this on the show a lot. You don't want to get stuck on a number. You don't want to get stuck on a graph. You don't want to get stuck on it. What you want to get stuck on is the validation of the visual of the stars themselves. Are your stars round?
Eccentricity.
If they're round, don't touch anything. Leave it alone. It's fine.
But Dan, we're talking guiding. We're not talking primary imaging. So I agree with you there with primary imaging. But with guiding,
With guiding, yeah, that's what
I mean. So in your particular case, you're absolutely right. You can definitely vary that. I mean, this isn't hard numbers between 3 and 4. You go 2.5 to 4 seconds. Some people I even know going up even more. But as I said, the key once again is when you look in PhD, you've got the signal to noise ratio for the centroid of the star. You don't want a flat top. You definitely want it peaked. That's the secret, is to get that peak. And then if you're running PhD 2 and you're running the guide assistant, and then you definitely want to see your calibration results. Yes, it'll give you recommendations, but more importantly, it will show you your backlash. Have you ever noticed there's a backlash that you can click on? There's a little radio button. You click on it, and it will show you exactly what your backlash is. So as it's kind of coming up, and it'll kind of plateau out. The longer that plateau is from left to right, the better off that you're going to get in terms of that your mount doesn't have backlash. So that's something else that you can actually run with the guide assistant. It will definitely give you an indication of what your backlash is on your mount. Yep. So by all means, if you've never used the guide assistant in PhD 2, run it. Believe me, run it. But initially, let it run for at least 3 to 4 worm cycles. Find out what your worm cycle is on your mount, and let it run for at least 3 minimum, 4 maximum, if not more, if you got the time, because usually it runs up to past 10 or 15 minutes. But believe me, the longer you let it run, the better off that you're going to be able to do the calibration, and it will give you the raw data that you're looking for.
And that's something I learned from Pete just recently. Him and I, and even Scott was involved in this conversation regarding, man, I was having some, for whatever reason, like it was one of those days where my guiding was just crap. I have an EQ8R. Why is my guiding crap? Why is my calibration failing? Why it's a $5,000-$6,000 mount? Why am I having an issue? You know, so the whole thing, and so we're talking, and you know what? I was always one for doing the calibration near your target. I am no longer part of that. I am no longer part of that because of the conversation that started with Scott and ended with Pete on when and where to do your calibration in your sequence. And I don't know, Pete, if you want to touch on that, because you are a little bit more knowledgeable on this. I mean, maybe you could talk about that a little bit, because that totally fixed. And there's one other setting that I'll tap on at the end on PhD 2 guide, and then I'll tap on. But if you could go into the semantics of that, that'd be great.
Well, as we said, we had Heinrich on with Star Aid, right? And remember, with Star Aid, you didn't need a specific place to do your initial calibration. That particular guide scope, you could literally point it anywhere and it will do a self-calibration. But if you're using PhD 2, it's very important that when you set up your initial calibration, you have to be plus or minus 30 degrees above or below celestial equator, 1 to 2 hours east or west of the meridian. You pick a 5th magnitude star within that particular region. And what you do then is you click on that star, you start to guide it. After about 5 seconds is when you click on the guide wizard, and the guide wizard now will take over. And what you do at that point then is you let it run for at least a minimum of 3 worm cycles. Case in point, on the Mighty Mount, the worm cycle is 420 seconds. So I have to literally let it run for probably 15 minutes. And then it will actually give you an indication of all your calibration data. It will tell you exactly what your polar alignment is. It'll give you a lot of information. If you want to truly find out what your backlash is, you can click on a radio button. It will tell you what your declination backlash is, and it will actually give you a graphical interface of what that is.
Yeah. And you know what one of the issues that I was having, I was getting okay guiding, but at one point I guess I was calibrating way off, and then I figured out a way to kind of I don't know, cheat the system, but I mean, I was talking to a bunch of people with Nina and how to kind of figure this out and how to build the calibration into my advanced sequencer. Okay. So what I do was at the beginning of the sequence every night, no matter what, I have it slew. And I don't use altitude. I don't use RA and deck. I use altitude and azimuth. And I slew 165 degrees, almost due south, and about 35 degrees in altitude. And that puts me really, really close to that celestial equator and the meridian. Meridian, right? Is that right? Yeah, that where they intersect all the time. So it'll slew to that point up to about, I think, what is it, October? And then I'm gonna have to kind of change some of the numbers a little bit, but I'm good for about 6 months. So it'll slew to that part of the sky, auto pick a star, and calibrate using that star. And it'll move on from there. Is it perfect? No. Is it that fifth magnitude, sixth magnitude star? But it's gonna pick a non-saturated star where you get that peak that Pete was talking about. So you're able to get that bright centroid, and it can kind of move and calibrate based on that. So
And
go ahead.
and Dan, another point to ask is that with auto guiding, you don't really want to have the focus tack sharp. You want to be just slightly out of focus because you're more concerned about the centroid, because that's where all the intensity is coming from. So you want to just have it just slightly out of focus.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely. And and for those of you out there that have Cinta mounts, the Cinta mounts, the EQ8, the EQ6, the Atlas, all those. If you have Cinta mounts and you find out that you have an extra large amount of backlash, which is what I found out that I had a little bit more than I thought of in the EQ8R after the discussions with Scott and Pete. I had a lot. And I went to Skywatcher and I said, listen, I said, what the hell? It's not, it was taking too long to settle. And it failed all the time. PhD would fail. There's a setting in the guiding tab under the brain, and there's a little tick box there. And for those of you that use Cinta mounts, you're going to want to check this tick box if you're having this failing in calibration. There's a fast recenter for the star, and it will get it back to the center after it's done the east step, the west step, the north step, or the south step. It will auto fast recenter it back and make a quick adjustment to make sure you're back to where you should be. So that helped me a lot with that issue, especially with the EQ8R. And I think I got to thank also Mark Ellis for some help with that as well, because he has an EQ8R and was helping me out too.
Yeah, I'm going to try to reach out to Bruce Worthington. Bruce really kind of took PhD and took it away from Craig Stark when Craig Stark came up with nebulosity software. And he and Andy Glasso have really just kind of made it where it is today. And I've been reaching out to Bruce to see if I can get him to be a guest. So I'll reach out to him again. I'll see if we can get him to come on board, because he'd be really a super guest to have to talk about the intricacies of PhD too.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess everyone was thinking I was saying Cinta mount instead of Cinta. So the Cinta mounts are a specialized kind, and it's about the software in the mounts, and the ones that have the SynScan hand controller, those are the ones that I'm talking about. Those are the Cinta mounts. Pete, if you want to go into the background of the company and that kind of stuff, you can, because I don't know it.
Celestrons.
What? No, Celestron's different. No, it's not the Celestron mounts. Yeah, so it's the EQs, the HEQs, the SynScan hand controller type mounts. And Pete, if you want to go into more specifics on that, you can.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Dan. I'll be honest with you. I've been just dealing more on the high end stuff, because that's kind of where my expertise is, because I couldn't tell you literally anything on the Celestron mounts, the Ioptron mounts. I've never used one. Right. I mean, I've used the harmonic drive mounts from Rainbow and Hoban, but as I said, when it comes to like the mounts, the CGEMs, I really don't have a clue about them. So you probably have more information. But I mean, if somebody wanted information on a plane wave, a Mighty mount, the Lost Mandy mount, yeah, that's kind of more my expertise. A 10 micron, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. This is more of the entry level up to right before you get to that point is where the price ends for these Cinta mounts. Anything, even the CGXL, even though it's not a Orion Skywatcher, which is basically thank you, Ernie, for confirming that those are the Cinta mounts that require like EQ mod. If you use EQ mod, then you have a Cinta mount. So that being said, if you have something like that with the EQ8R and you have something with the settling issue that I had, try that little tick box of Fast Recenter on the guiding tab. Check it out. See, it might help you.
Dead air.
Dead air. What happened? Dead air. No, it can happen. I was looking at a few. Yeah, you know what? With all the weather that's been all the craziness that's been happening here in the Midwest, especially here in Illinois, Northern Illinois, Wisconsin area, who knows what could, there could have been a lot of things that have been, were affecting my guiding, and there, because one, I recently updated the firmware on the CEM 60, so that could have had some things to do with it, because I was up, you update the firmware on the deck as well as the RA motors and the main board and everything else. The weather has been ridiculous, with
not only in your part of the world, man, it's all over.
Constant rain, and then all of a sudden you get clear skies within about a couple hours, and you're like, oh, I got to get out here, and you start trying to do stuff. And I've told you a bit about this before, Dan. I try to get out there, try to do something, get started. What happens? But then 2 hours later, more clouds roll in. So, it could be a lot of different factors.
Well, too, getting back to these mounts, I call them the mass-produced China-made mounts, is that when we talk about issues, a lot of the issues have to do with the machining process, because unlike in America where we have, better quality control is the word I should maybe say. I've actually had people have gone in, they've opened up their mounts to see the gear and the worm, and you should see the amount of burrs that they have, because once again, these things are produced, they come off the machine, they don't really go in there, and they do a lot of deburring. So now what happens is you've got a burr that could be nestled in between one of the teeth. So as that worm and that gear come through, there's always going to be a certain point where all of a sudden you get that one big spike. And once again, regardless, all these mounts, regardless of what they are, they're going to definitely need maintenance. People sometimes don't even look at these mounts for 5 or 6 years. And I'm going to say, well, look at how much dirt you have in there. You've been out there, right, at the desert. You've been in the mountains. There's a lot of dirt and grit and everything else that gets in there. You have to do maintenance on these mounts. You literally have to go in there. You have to go ahead and re-grease them, because you have to clean them out. And believe me, when you do that after 3 or 4 years, you're going to see a marked improvement as well. So don't be afraid to open up some of these mounts. These mounts aren't really kind of like working on a new car. They're basically just mechanical things that you can go in there, take the cover off, and there's a real simple process that the manual will tell you how to go ahead and do preventive maintenance, or literally you can find that information out on a YouTube.
Yeah, and you know what? It's great advice there, because I honestly, since I've had my 60, I haven't, and I've had it now for about 2 years. I haven't done any maintenance on it, and I bought it pre-owned. So I don't know if Chris, the previous owner, if he had time to do that. So, that's a great point.
Or if he beat it like a redheaded stepchild.
You don't know. No, it's been good. Stop, Scott.
Not for nothing, but one of the biggest culprits. I mean, Pete makes a great point with the metal burring and such. The manufacturing. I don't want to dig too hard on this because I want to be I don't want to be politically correct. Hell with that. But I don't want to inadvertently just piss people off for no reason. But quite frankly, the a lot of the stuff that comes out of China is junk. It's terrible. I can't tell you how many things I have purchased from there.
I'm gonna stop this for a second there. Scott, sometimes, unfortunately, yes, I will agree with you 1,000% on the quality of many American-made products. The quality control, all of that on many American-made products is first class. But also, when it comes to a lot of these mounts that especially like you have, or even that Pete, you work with and things like that, these higher end mounts, when you're in a position like someone like me or people who are just getting started, we have to start, like we were talking earlier, we have to start somewhere. And we have to go with these lower end or less expensive or mass produced mounts because this is in our budget. This is the mark. We are those that the Ioptrons and the Celestrons and the Skywatchers. We are their target audience. People like me and people who are just getting started. We're their target audience because we have to stay within a budget. We don't really have much of a choice. I would love, honestly, if I had the money to get a software bisque. I would love to go down the street, literally, less than a 15-minute drive to McChesney Park, Illinois, and walk into Astrophysics and get myself a Mach 2. I would love it, but I can't, so, and to Pete's point, these are the things where I have to learn, I'm going to have to learn how to tear apart my mount. I'm going to have to tear apart this mount and learn how to do maintenance on it, because
don't get me wrong, Eric. I'm not saying that all of the mounts out of China. I'm not talking about just mounts. I'm talking about their manufacturing process in general.
Oh no, it's a lot of it you have very poor quality control, or because they are mass produced, you don't have a great quality controls, in certain factories or what have you. I'm not going to dispute that. I totally get it. I mean, heck, that's why, every once, nowadays, hell, I'll have to buy a new TV every 4 or 5 years. Where, back in the day, my parents' TV, my grandparents' TV, when they got it, that sucker still worked when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And nowadays, the TVs that I buy, I'm not going to say a brand name, but it'll only probably last me 4 years.
Yeah.
So to add to that question, maybe it's not the manufacturing process from China that's bad. It's the quality control process.
Yes.
That has a lot to do. Yeah, because you're right. It's kind of like, you can get a good product from China. You pray to God it's maybe not a Monday morning or a Friday afternoon, kind of like we had the same thing with the X cars. Remember Detroit? Remember the 70s when we had the X cars? I mean, they were garbage. So we kind of went through the same thing. Believe me, I think that China is going to be in a position where they will definitely get great quality control. I just don't think that they're there yet by our standards, what we would compare to, say, American QC control. But they will get there.
What's one of the biggest complaints, Pete? What's one of the biggest complaints about some of these mounts? It's the grease.
Well, I mean, I can tell you a prime example. When I was at OPT, I'm not going to say amount, but I'm going to say a particular camera manufacturer. If you pushed the cooling up to 90% load for any length of time, the fan would quit on you. So you literally now would have to either ship it back to who you bought it from, and they would have to accumulate enough cameras to make the shipping back to China worthwhile, or you literally would have to box it up and ship it over there, and you would literally wait 6 to 16 weeks to get the camera back. So I always told everybody, if you're going to buy this particular camera, you might want to get a second camera just in case.
Or buy a different one altogether.
Buy a different one altogether, or don't push the camera past 10 degrees below ambient. You don't want to do it. Since then, they've fixed that problem because they knew that that was the weak point. But as I said, Dan, you and I know the strengths and the weaknesses of all these OEMs in our company, in our industry.
Yeah.
We just know which ones we'd recommend and which ones we would say you don't want to go with this because this is a situation.
Yeah, and it looks like Tom Daigon had an issue in the last couple of months that he had to return EQ8R and EQ6R and the CEM70 due to some sort of quality control issue. But I gotta say one thing, and I'm not trying to say that that is an issue. Quality control is an issue. I know that even Celestron, Skywatcher, everybody's been having the issue that has any sort of manufacturing in China, which is probably 90% of the entire hobby or lifestyle, whichever way you think about it, with the exception of Teleview, Astrophysics, and Precise Parts. I mean, I mean, I'm sure there are more, and but for the most part, everybody is outsourcing to China and getting stuff back because of either the cheapness of materials, the cheapness of labor, whatever it is, doesn't matter. But the whole thing is that I gotta say, I've had two of those 3 mounts, Tom, that you have mentioned in your statement. And I've also had an Atlas too, which is another Cinta mount. I've had an EQM35, which is another Skywatcher mount. I've had probably like 3 or 4 other mounts throughout the course, and most of them came from China. And I consider myself very lucky. I have not returned one of them. As a matter of fact, I've gotten better results than I thought I would have gotten with these mounts. And I see the same thing that Pete sees when people return stuff and they're lemons and there's bad gears, or to Scott's points, the grease is bad and it's just not moving, or the gears suck and the machinery has a burn or whatever it is. It doesn't matter, but it happens. It happens a lot. But I think when it happens 2 or 3 times to one person, like it did to you, Tom, you get that bad, bitter kind of taste in your mouth, like you just ate a really bad spree. It's like, you're like, oh my God, it's hard when you never want to do it again. And I get it, but you got to think about it as a grand scheme. The amount of mounts that they are just trying to push out there, thousands of mounts and mass produced.
There's a lot of there's a lot of demand. There's lack of inventory right now. So there's a lot of demand to get these pushed out. And it's tough. It's tough. And Scott's point, with the pandemic, there's a lot of things that, especially in China, a lot of restrictions right now because of the pandemic. They can't. A lot of people can't work. So you're having a lack of quality control because of this type of stuff. So there's a lot of things going on.
And it's not, Eric, you're right. It's not every company.
No,
there are some Chinese companies that, man, let me tell you something. Their quality control. Hey, I'll show you one.
Well, no, don't do it. Scott.
Nikon. Yeah.
The
China.
Hey, just to read, I'm just reading what Craig Meyer said. I mean, once again, this is a testament to what China's doing right now, but all QHY cameras, let's say you bought a QHY camera, it's still under warranty, but you're having issues. You don't need to send it back to China. There's a gentleman here that used to own SBIG called Mike Barber. QHY has given Mike Barber a lot of brand new cameras. And the reason being is that he doesn't want customers to have to wait to get a return back on their camera for warranty work. You can reach out to Mike Barber. If he's got that particular camera brand new, he'll change it out for you. And then he'll ship your camera back and get repaired. So you can use this camera as a replacement. So that's something that I have to say is really good with the QHY cameras, is that they've got
That's really
a
cool.
representative here to be able to be the liaison, China and the USA market.
And you know, in all fairness too, I mean, now that ZWO also opened up a repair center in Indiana, you know, that has helped a bit too, because there was a while where if you had if you were one of the unfortunate ones with the grease and the 294 just
thermal.
dripping, and you know, and you had to send it back to wherever, I don't know, wherever in China to get it fixed. Now that's not the case. There's a better turnaround. There's an in-house type thing in the US where you could send it to the middle of the country and it can get fixed. Now, is there still a wait? Is it as fast as a QHY turnaround? Absolutely not. But it's now 6 to 8 weeks instead of 6 to 8 months. So that was one of the good things that happened recently with ZWO, and I am a QHY user and a ZWO user, so I use them both. I have a 16200 and a 268, and I have a plethora of guide scopes from ZWO 183. Pete's got my 294 somewhere in his closet of death in Canada, California. you know, but you know, it's you know, I have to echo somebody in the chat that said, yet the pandemic, and I think Eric said it too, that the pandemic has had an impact in the quality control, humongously. I mean, to the point where people are just trying to push these things out, get them out the door, because they know it's going to take 18 months to go across, across on a container, and those containers now have quadrupled in price. Those shipping containers have quadrupled in price, and you know, people are just trying to push everything in there as much as they can, as fast as they can. And unfortunately, when you do that and you try to supply the demand to the point where quality control takes a hit, and it's unfortunate that happens, but you're rolling the dice. It's like an insurance company. You're rolling the dice hoping that it happens less often, you know, not as much as you would think.
Hey, this is off topic, but remember that cargo container that had all those luxury cars that went down off the in the Atlantic Ocean? Did they ever were able to raise that thing up? I never heard anything else after that.
I don't know. I thought you were talking about an Edsel, but I think I'm dating myself there, but that's way before even my time, actually. But
couple of questions in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you got? Yeah, there's Scott.
Scotty, what do you got there, Scotty?
Yeah. Yes, the other Scott C. Not
yeah,
me,
no, I saw that.
The other one says, "I'm so new to the hobby, I don't even know if my stuff works well or not." It's funny. Yeah, Chris says, Peter, the My T tripod showed up. The mount comes tomorrow, and the clouds are. Oh, okay, that's not a question; it's a statement. Yeah.
Yeah, he bought a My T. It was all over the Discord and everything. He's really happy about his My T. Chris Fierskin.
Yeah. We'll take the time, Chris, and we'll go through a training session on the SkyX Pro.
Hi, all. I'm trying to take my first Astra photograph, trying to set up a Sharpstar 61 EDPH2 and a new Williams 0.8 reducer and field flattener. I seem to be unable to achieve focus.
Eric can help him out.
Gotta be back focused.
Well, that has to do with the Sharpstar.
That's a couple of things.
Yeah.
I thought Sharpstar had their own reducers.
They did. The 61 has their own flattener.
You know, so I apologize. I can't pronounce Railfan.
Rifon?
I'm sorry, I can't.
Rifon?
Or else, yeah, I apologize. But if you're unable to achieve focus, one of the things is, to take a look when you're taking those first, those exposures. Take a look and see how the stars, see what direction they're pointing, because I'm sure they're elongated maybe somehow, right? And take a look at that. Also, I don't think, and this is even with Mark even commented, we've just commented here as well. I don't know if the William Optics reducer is the proper tool or the proper reducer to use with that particular telescope. I know that you can use William Optics on a lot of other non-William Optics scopes. You can use it, but I don't know if the 61 that you currently have is the correct one.
Yeah, because usually what happens, especially with the 61 and the Sharpstar products in general.
Yes.
They do come in a package, just like the Esprit line have matched flatteners for their refractors. And I believe the Sharpstar is a 0.8. Yeah, it's a 0.8 reducer.
It is a 0.8.
And it's made for the 61. And the 61, there is a package that comes with the 61 with the flattener. It comes with and without. So I would strongly suggest to get the one that's made for that
I don't know if this showed up in the chat, because I have had some issues with my comments showing up in the chats. But I just did put out from Agena Astro, the Sharpstar, the actual reducer, and they have quite a few of them in stock. So I don't know how long you've had your William Optics, but take a look at the link that I just posted. And they have.
You couldn't get one.
Well, I understand. I'm just saying, take a look at that link, and they've got a lot of these in stock. They have more than 10 available, and Agena is really good with keeping up with their inventory control. It's not showing up in the chat.
No.
Okay.
Send it to Dan.
Can I send it? I'm gonna send this to Dan. I'm sending this to you.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do you one better. I'm gonna put the one for Camera Concepts up there, and
either way, there you go.
I just put the link for Camera Concepts up there, and he said he just got it from Camera Concepts. There you go. Before I even put the link up.
There you
go. But yeah, Rail Fan. Just so you know, Pete works for Woodland Hills. I work for Camera Concepts. If you ever want to know while we're on the show, I'm sure something's in. Actually, for me, I don't know if Pete has access to that, but if you want to know if Camera Concepts has it in stock, I could log right into the system and find out if we have it. And if not, I'm sure Pete could get it. I know Woodland Hills has a much larger inventory than I do, but we could definitely make something work out between the both of us. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure even, Railfan, because it is adjustable. The William Optics is adjustable. You didn't mention where you've got where you have your adjustment at right now. If it's all the way in, if you try to set it a little back or anything like that. You didn't really mention anything like that.
Yeah, if I was going to try and make that work, I'd probably have it set at 0 to start. And then go to your 55 millimeter kind of starting point, and go at that point at the 55 millimeter, put your camera on, make sure you take into account the space from the camera housing to the chip, depending on what camera you have. Usually it's anywhere from 17.5 millimeters or down to 6.5 if you don't have the 11 millimeter collar for the ZWO. But there's a spacing requirement when it comes with all flat. And If you're seeing what Eric said, where you're seeing elongated stars, that's one thing. If you're having problems focusing altogether, where you can get a star in focus, that is something else.
That
you,
is
you know,
bad
so
focus.
so if you're getting in focus and you're in focus and your stars are going around the sensor or into the sensor, then you're either further away or too close to your flattener. If you're out of focus where you just can't see a damn thing, then you might have a back spacing issue
Basic issue.
where you need more space from the focuser to the flattener. There's so many things that's why it's so important when you have a refractor or something that there is something that's made for it. Just get it. It'll work. Spend the 200. I think it's the 199 for the flattener for the EDPH. Just grab the flattener that's made for it. That's what I did with my Esprit. The Esprit came with it. So it's a screw on flattener and it works. So
Yeah, and if you're not using something like the oh geez, it just went right out of my head. Precise parts. Out back. Yeah. Anyway, if you're not using something like Precise Parts that is machined right to spec, right? Sometimes you need that final tweak, to get that
Great.
spacing. And Eric made a point about I think it was a Gina. And they have on their site the spacing rings at different diameters, but they've Blue Fireball as a
Blue
kit
Fireball, sure.
that you can get to, and I think they take them down to 1/10 of a millimeter.
Yep, 0.1.
So, I mean,
I
you
think it
can
might
get
even go to
really
0.05.
The aluminum. Yeah, the aluminum ones. Get
Yeah.
the aluminum ones.
Yeah, you can get them very,
don't
very,
get
very.
the nylon
Yeah, don't get the
ones.
plastic ones. Plastic ones
Don't get
suck.
the plastic
Get
ones.
the
Get the
aluminum
aluminum
ones. Yeah, the
But-
aluminum or the steel ones. Yeah.
And it's a good point that maybe what we should do is bring up is that what is the difference between, say, a coma corrector? What's the difference between a flattener and a reducer? Is basically the same thing, but for different telescopes.
So different telescopes.
Good point, Pete.
For refractors, you're always going to need to get, if you're doing astrophotography, you're always going to need to get a flattener. And people will say, well, why do I need to spend the money on a flattener? Because if you're doing astrophotography, you want to have a flat field from edge to edge. If you don't, your center is going to be great. Your stars are going to be nice, round, and tight. But as you go to the corners, you're going to start to see the egg-shaped elongation. So to compensate for that, you have to get a flattener. And then sometimes you'll say, well, what is the difference between a flattener and a reducer? Well, for the new people that are out there, the difference is that let's say you've got a very slow vocal ratio scope and you want to make it faster because you don't want to do visual. You want to use it now for, say, astrophotography. You want to go, say, from an F10 down to an F6.3. That's where reducer will come in. But at the same time, there's not a free lunch. You make the vocal ratio faster, but you also give up vocal ratio or vocal length. Excuse me. So you're going to shrink your field of view as well. You're going to make your field of view wider, but you're going to give up a little bit of your vocal length to be able to get that faster vocal ratio.
Exactly.
Coma correct.
That's why the Edge. That's why the Celestron Edge telescopes were such a revolution for Schmitz.
I'm so psyched to get mine. Can't wait to get mine.
Yeah.
So if you've got a Newtonian, then you now get it. You get what they call a coma corrector, like a wind coma corrector, because basically it's the same thing as a flattener, except it's specific now for the Newtonians.
Yep. Because basically with coma correctors, it's your stars. Is it the stars? Is it because they are now also kind of getting those rings, like almost purplish?
Well, it's about the shape of the mirror, if I remember right, because now you're dealing with a parabolic mirror, as opposed to a concave lens, where you're combating some sort of curvature issue or coma issue as in a Newtonian.
It's coma. It's basically coma. You're correcting for coma.
Yeah. So
basically what coma is coma makes your stars look like little mini comets.
Yeah.
You'll have the head and then you'll have like a little tail, and that's the indication that you got coma with Newtonians. And like Richard had said, believe me, the best scopes for astro imaging are really Newtonians. I mean, they're phenomenal. I mean, they are fast. However, you just need to know there's certain little weaknesses based upon the coma. So you have to get a very good coma corrector for the Newtonians. As Richard was saying the other night, yeah, RCs, yeah, you don't want to start out getting an RC. You know, you might want to start with a refractor
I've
first
learned
and
that
build your way
lesson
up
myself.
into an RC. They do look sexy, like Eric. Remember, you said they do look sexy.
They look great.
You don't want to learn with an RC.
No.
No. And you know, and what I was thinking about when I was thinking about the purple, I was thinking about the fringing in the purple. You have because the achromatic. You know, I was thinking achromatic refractor.
Acros,
chromatic aberration.
You know, a friend of mine
aberration.
was searching high and low, and he was. I love this guy. He's a good guy. I'm not going to mention his name, but you know, he was telling me, and he was like, Dan, all I want is a high quality achromat. All I want. I was like, yeah, well, good luck. Try finding one. You know, the best high quality one, go to Costco, maybe, and you might be able to find one. But, you know, you're not going to find a high quality achromat anywhere. It's he wanted to use it for, I think it was calcium K imaging on solar. And he didn't want to spend the money for an ED or an APO or anything like that. He just wanted a piece of garbage achromat. I was like, yeah, well, I guess, you know, with calcium K, everything's blue anyway. You really don't have to worry about it. But I mean, do you really want to waste the quality? You're going to put a calcium K filter on top of this $80 telescope? Really? I'm like, come on, dude. You just get the ADED and have a day. You know, just spend the $650 and just do it. But sometimes it's like gold plating a piece of T-bone steak that's been eaten and gnarled by the Rottweilers across the street. You know, why would you want to do that? If you're gonna put a $2,000 filter on top, there's only so much you could do with an $80
so
scope.
much lipstick on a pig, right?
Yeah, I mean, come on. You know, but it's really interesting what, you know, sometimes people think that it's gonna work out, and you know what? God bless them all for trying. But it's just not gonna work. Not gonna work.
Hey, David, believe me, David, I'm not bad mouthing RCs. I'm just trying to say, if you're learning, it's not a good scope to learn.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I would agree with you on that. It is not the easiest because, for one, also, and you guys have known, you know, a while back, I was really touting RCs. I want to get an RC. I want to get an RC, either the truss or the tube, or, you know, that, because I wanted those really cool, you know, I wanted the diffraction spikes and I wanted all this stuff until I really learned and realized the collimation process and how much that collimation process, what it takes, because it's not just with like a Schmidt where you just collimate the secondary. It's not just, you know, with a Newtonian where you collimate the secondary and the primary. You do so much. You got to collimate the focuser, and it's got to be in a correct sequence. Correct me if I'm wrong. Right?
No, you're right. You're right.
And you've got to get like the focus. Maybe I don't know if you got to get the focuser collimated first. I don't know, or then you get the primary or the secondary,
and then you go back to the focuser again. But I mean,
and then you go back to the focuser.
You know what? I gotta say, I just did my first. It was
giving me a headache.
I did my first RC. A friend of mine gave it to me. He said, "Hey, listen, I'll give it to you. I know you've very rarely touched them. I just want to see what you could do with them." So I did it. And I collimated. I watched 15 YouTube videos, one from our friend who's been on the show, Alan Mitchell. He had a really good the collimation video on RCs, and especially the 6RC, because the 6RC is a different monster than the 8s or higher. It's kind of, the baffles inside give you a little pain in the butt. But you know, Eric's right. You do the focuser, then the primary, then the secondary, and double check the focuser again, and you're going back and forth with the concentric ring hologram and a Cheshire eyepiece, and you're doing all this stuff. But I got to tell you, I did it for about for somebody who's done one other one before. I've never done it, and I don't know. Mark Ellis will chime in. I see him in the chat, and it's not as hard as you would think. The good thing is you could do it in your house in the cloudy day during the daytime, and then you could start check it later. You know, as long as your focuser is square, as long as your focuser is collimated, the other stuff is just like anything else.
Well, it's just like this scope behind me.
Veloce.
This scope is like
Veloce.
This is a trophy wife. I mean, a pain in the ass when it comes to maintenance, but boy, when it's dialed in, man, it is tack sharp. But believe me, I wouldn't recommend this to anybody who's not at least 2 years into this hobby, because the collimation process, man, it is a nightmare. But once you do get it dialed in, it doesn't take much afterwards just to kind of tweak it. But believe me, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Which is why, you know, we talk a lot about, you know, people just getting started in astrophotography, such as like Railfan, you know, he's trying to take his first astro photograph. You know, you start out, a lot of people that we recommend starting out with these, you know, smaller, faster refractors, you know, because one, you don't have to worry about collimating them. You know, there's no collimation that you have to deal with. Because these aren't reflectors. I mean, these are refractors. It's just glass, you know, and stuff like that. And they're much easier to get started with. And then as you progress and you get more comfortable and you want to start taking on the newer challenge or a bigger challenge, then you may want to think about moving on to maybe into a reflector like a Schmidt, like the one that behind me, or a Ricci, an RC, or, you know, or a Newtonian or something like that. But that's why, because of the collimation process, it kind of turns or scares some people. And it's not that scary once you start doing it a couple of times, and once you take the time to actually learn the process. Once you get time to learn the process and know what the proper steps. And again, to Scott and everyone, we talk about looking at YouTube videos. YouTube videos have been some of the most educational things for my kids and even for me, you know, that have come out. It's better than going to the library sometimes. But, you know, doing the process, you figure these things out and you'll get it. It's just going to take trial and error. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to, you know, but again, take notes. Grab your notebook, take notes, stuff like that. You know, once you get there, you'll get there. And then trust me, it doesn't matter what, a Ricci, a Newtonian, whatever. Once you start doing it a few times, then it'll take you no time to do it, because you've got it locked in. You've got the notes, you've got the mindset to know what to do, and you'll be fine.
And I'm trying to find.
That comes back full circle to what I was saying at the onset. You know, find out what you want to shoot. Marry that to the best imaging rig that you can get for what your budget range will allow. You know, without winding up in divorce court. You know, and then master it.
God bless my wife. I mean, I don't know. I'll say it time and time again how lucky I am, because, you know, I've got two back here. I've got one over there. No, I've got three over here, and I got one back there. I mean, some other people, some other women, they'd be like, yeah, I'm done with you.
Well,
you should be spending that on me.
Yeah, my wife was the opposite. My wife was like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
just do it, Scott.
You know
just don't put us in the poorhouse, Scott.
You know, she got just like, I don't care. You know,
I don't want to be in a halfway house at the end of the year. That's the only thing I care about. So, but you know, I'm just so
in your roll-off roof there, Diane.
I am super stoked that She said yes.
You
She said yes. I'm so happy. I'm like,
remember what I told you when
you're gonna
Robert
put an
told me?
observatory in?
He
I was
says,
like-
you can go and do this. I'm like, yes.
I was like, when is the fence going in? When is the fence going in? We got to do that. We got to do it. I got to get it done before. I got to get this telestation put in before it's winter time.
You know what I've always wanted to ask people?
Okay.
I always
Okay.
think people that
Hold on.
have
Real
multiple.
fan, I'm looking at Ernie. I'm using spacers behind the flattener, but just looking through space.
What's rail
to get
fan again?
back about 14 inches before I see any clarity through the lens. 14 inches?
14 inches.
There's something not right.
14 inches.
That's too.
That's like two of
far.
my heads.
That
That's
can't
too
be
far
right.
back. Real fan.
Yeah.
That's something wrong. I'm using what kind of, first off, what spacers are you using?
No, let's find out what's the required back focus on the flattener.
What
That's
is the
first
required?
thing to
Yes.
ask.
Can you? Yes. Thank you.
Well, he
What
said
is
it
the
was a
required-
William
You might
Optic.
need
So
14
again,
centimeters,
let's
not
start at the
your-
55.
It's 55. A William Optics, all you need is 55 millimeter back focus. That's from the first part of the glass of your William Optics, that reducer to the sensor of your camera. Can you tell me what kind of camera you also have? I'd like to know, are you using a DSLR or do you have a dedicated camera? I'd like to know. And right now, if you're looking right now, are you using an eyepiece right now to do all of this, or are you using what are you using to view? To take a look and see this.
There's a lot of variables here that need to be
looked into. Yeah,
from the objective, we just all you got to be concerned about is from the flat.
148. That's wrong.
That's not correct.
So you've got a ZWO 148.
There's
That's
no
6.5.
148.
There's no
There's
such
no
thing as a
148.
148.
I just emailed 148.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a 148.
No. Take a look at the back of the camera and see again.
Yeah, please take a look at the back of the camera and make sure.
Because it will. 178. 178. Okay.
No.
Yeah. 178.
Okay. So
Do they even make
that's
that camera anymore?
I don't know. They're not making. I don't think they make it anymore.
Yeah, it's also uncooled if I remember right.
Yeah, it is. It's an uncooled camera.
Right,
so it's basically it's a planetary camera.
Yep. And with a real tiny chip.
And with a very, very small chip.
What's a telescope?
And he's trying to image with that?
What's a
deep
telescope?
sky?
It's
What's
the
the
61
telescope?
EDPH, Pete.
Yeah, it's a very small
Star.
pixel size. That is a very small chip. It is a very small pixel size, only 2.4 microns.
Yep.
Oh, that's tiny.
Well, in all fairness, he's got a tiny focal length too. So I mean, that may work for him.
For what he's trying to, but for just getting started. But still, you're still at 55 millimeter back focus, even with the small hockey puck.
If you're 14 inches, you gotta sell me some of your spacers and put it in my closet of death. And that's what we need to do. But
But the question is, hold it, Dan. Are we talking 14 inches from the back of the flattener or 14 inches from the front of the telescope? See, there's a big difference. We got
the question was asked and it hasn't been answered yet. So
the lightning's kicking butt.
Yeah,
What's
better
the
watch
score?
out. Put your hat back on.
What's the score?
I just noticed in the chat. I don't have the game up.
No, and Chris, it's not. It's
V2
it could be it could be a Zenith Star 170 60 Zenith Star 61 reducer. So
14 inches from the back of the flattener.
That's gotta be
that's
way.
That's too much. That's
No
too much,
way.
bud.
You need 55 millimeters, including
55 millimeters.
I think it's 11 for the 178. 11 mil. So you need 44 millimeters from your camera housing to the flattener, which is like that.
Yeah.
So you don't need all that. That's why you're
Correct.
not
Yeah,
getting
it's about
them
that's
focused.
about an inch and 3/4.
Yep. Oh yeah, I was gonna
roughly.
say about 2 inches, but yeah. So that's
25,
way
25.4 millimeters per inch.
So the 178's like this. This is a 290, but it's the same housing.
Because here this is a 120, but
It's the same
it's giving
housing.
you, I'm giving you
Same housing.
So it's the same housing. So it's the same housing, and
Same
if
thing
I'm not
here.
mistaken,
And that's a T2 thread, right?
This is a T2
Yes.
thread. Yep.
Yep.
Or M42 for those other people.
Mark, you're absolutely right. You know, just set it at 55 and see what you get. Yep.
That's
Yeah, 14,
exactly
there's no way
what I
it's
said,
14
Mark.
days.
Start at the 55 and work your way from
that's
there.
gotta be wrong.
yes,
That's gotta be wrong.
Start at 55 and work from there. And then, you know, because the William Optics, even if you look at the William Optics website, we were talking about it a couple of weeks ago, that even for different scopes, 55 is not 55. Not every scope is created equal. So 55 is, again, a starting point, and get from there. And see if you're getting focus at
correct.
55 millimeters. So I'm using you're using 48 millimeter spaces. You're not using 48 length. You're using 48 millimeter thread. That's different. 48 millimeter spacing. 40 millimeters is like, it's like an inch and a half. You know.
Yeah.
So
I would strongly recommend going to the ZWO website. There is a page there that speaks about back focus on their cameras.
Yeah, it gives you the 55 millimeter, the best way to achieve it.
I'm looking here right now. I'm on the site and I'm trying to check about the hockey puck ones, and so I can give you the right information. So just bear with me. It doesn't say, but because a lot of these are
cool cameras. They're all cool cameras.
Yeah, most of them are cool cameras, and
no,
even
on the bottom,
you're talking initially. This guy, it's about just this right now is 12.5 millimeter back focus.
Correct.
Just
yeah,
the way
on the bottom
right
it says it. So it's 12 and a half. It's all the way at the bottom, all the way at the end has the uncooled cameras.
Yes. So here, if I share my screen here, let me share my screen.
Yeah.
And I will
Mark, while he's doing that, Mark makes a good point. He's saying that, you know, if you're taking all of your information from Cloudy Nights, you know, good luck with that. I mean, yeah, you got to understand there are some people on Cloudy Nights that they haven't taken their medication. Okay.
I mean, we talk about it all the time. We talk about, hey, listen, you're going to ask a question on Cloudy Nights, and then you're going to end up with the recipe for peanut butter and jelly. I mean, it's at the end of the leg. You know, it's pretty bad. So I actually
it's like
put
a therapy
the
session from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, give me the ball, Chief. But
yeah.
Eric put it up on the screen. I made it big screen for everybody to show everybody the back focus. I also put the link in the chat on for this webpage into the YouTube chat. So that's the first thing.
Right, because you start out. Because let me put this together here.
Well, nobody can see you, so.
Yeah, no, I'm just putting it together while that was showing up.
Okay.
But here, I'll go ahead and kill sharing. Whoa. But yeah, go to the ZWO website and.
What the hell happened to my focus?
Oh, I don't know, man. It's that Nikon camera. That
Nikon.
Quality control.
that might be that. Yeah. Let me try reconnecting. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Yep, no problem. But
this,
I guess Railfan, I'm kind of concerned about what it sounds like we're going between imaging and visual. I think we're going. I need you to clarify because now you're saying I assume I should be able to look through the lens and see any object several hundred feet away. Now, are you?
Yeah, you're doing two different things here.
Yeah, are you doing it through a live view on the camera? Or are you using an eyepiece?
Yeah. Are
Now,
you
if you're doing a
using
live view with the camera at nighttime, good luck. It's not going to be an easy thing unless you're shining it at a street light. Other than that, if the a way to get focus with, especially with the ZWO cameras, you put it on SharpCap, which is a free program. And you get it when you get the link through ZWO. It's to begin, it's a free. You load it up and you start it, and you'll get a live view right into your laptop, and you can get a rough focus from there. Once you get that, then you bring it out to the stars. You don't start to try and get try and get a rough focus first. And then you'll get something when you start attaching, because you could do this with the camera on. I see Eric's adapter bag
I'm
is like
jingling
it's like Christmas in Chicago. So it requires 5. Yeah, exactly. So
and also invest in either, I've got a bigger one here, but one thing when you're getting started with astrophotography, this is a digital caliper. Get one. This is a small one. This is only like a 3-inch, but I've got a 6-inch over here as well.
Yep.
But I'm just saying, invest in a caliper.
Yeah, it took me a long time to buy one. I actually finally bought one about 3 years ago. I said, I don't need no caliper. It's okay. I'll just put it together and see. And it doesn't work out. It saves you a lot of time if you get one. So go buy one.
So go buy one.
Yeah, good. Railfan said he has one.
Cheap one.
Railfan says he has one. So just
good. This one is because the nose piece itself that comes with the 178. This is about 28 millimeters right here, and you've already got with the hockey puck itself. That's 12.5.
Well, he's probably not using the nose piece, so
that's one thing I would consider.
Because he's using the M48 thread spacers, so he's probably not using the nose piece.
So he's using M48.
Well, he went M42 to M48.
Okay.
And now he's got M48 out to his platinum.
Okay, so you've got these guys. You got the 16.5, which is the M42 to M48, and then you've got the 21 millimeter,
and plus about another 12.5 inches.
You have to add on maybe another 5. If you have another 5 millimeter spacer, this will give you 55 millimeter back focus right off the bat. Because this right now, if I'm putting this together, this is 50.
Yeah,
with this setup of 16 with the 16.5 and the 21, and you have 12.5 going to the back of the sensor. When you hit the sensor, the front of the sensor, that's 12.5. If you add it all up, you got 50 millimeter right there. So this,
and not for nothing, if you got the adjustable, use that and bring it back 5 millimeters.
Yes. And if you do have the adjustable, then exactly. If you've got that William adjustable, then add in or just compensate that, pull that back another 5 mil, then you're fine.
You're done. And I believe that goes to like 20 millimeters or something like that. So it gives you a lot of breathing room.
It goes pretty far out.
Yeah.
And then you plug this guy up.
Greg's leaving. I got to say something real quick. Before Greg, don't leave. Don't leave. You still there, Greg? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut everybody off, but Greg's leaving, and we do have our. Did he leave? We gotta say now before he goes. Greg, I know we had some issues with the picture of the week voting and all that kind of stuff, but when all of that was said and done, Greg is the winner of the picture of the week. I dated it. I predated it back to April 30th. So I apologize about the date, but this picture
Nice.
The sun picture got
Yes.
got 52% of the vote, and three others got about 15%, and somebody else got 2 or 3. But Greg got the picture of the week, and I got to tell you, Greg, I love this picture. I think it's freaking awesome.
I absolutely love it. I love the prominence, and I love the the entire mix. I mean, I voted for this one personally.
So
I thought it was awesome.
So, Greg, congratulations. You are the last person to get into the picture of the month for April. So go and start voting. I believe the voting's open for picture of the month, and I extended it an extra week. So we're going to be ending the picture of the month for April voting. I believe it's the 22nd, 23rd this month because of all the flubs in the website and all that kind of stuff. So I believe, and if I could share my screen real quick, let me see if I can get there before I show you everything. Let's see. So AstroWorld live site.
Nielsen just jumped on.
I see. Sean, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Sean. What's going on, bud?
And edit. No, I don't want to edit. And I just.
But yeah, no, I was hunting, jingling around for my extra 5mm, and so right now I've got there's a full 55 right there. And again, since you have the adjustable William Optics reducer, then just add on that extra 5mm right there, and then just use.
Good. Or just again,
you should
use a variable.
I'd also be curious to know is what are you using to, get your visuals? Are you using Sharp Cap? Are you using ASI Cap, which is ZWO software? Are you using are you using an eyepiece? I'd like to get an understanding of what you're using.
And you know what? And I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. I don't do that. I make fun of myself more than anybody. But I'm dead serious about this. I want to see what 14 inches of back focus looks like. Can you just take me a picture of what that looks like and send it to my email? Because I just want to see if that's really 14 inches or not. Because that is, man, you're gonna kill somebody. You're gonna hit the bottom of a tripod with the 61mm, and it's gonna hurt.
That. No, there's no way it's that.
So that's 14 mil right there. That's 14 inches right there.
Yeah,
that's 14 inches right there.
But
so that's not right.
Here you go. Just so you know, just so we know that it's working right now. So here are the 4 April. So this will be our second picture of the month nominees. So we got Mark Ellis with his Veil Nebula shot. We got Andrus, who won the second week, I think, if I remember right, with the Horsehead Nebula. Then the third week was Jason Trevino with his Roro Fucus. And then we got the one that just won, Greg Meyer, for the 4th spot. And the voting has started. The clock is running. You have 14 days, 22 hours, 48 minutes, and 10 seconds to place your vote. So we already got 3 people that voted already. It shows how many people voted already. And also, when you look at the top, I reset the Astro Power submissions. I'm sorry that there was so many issues with the website over the past couple of weeks. I tried to make it better and it failed miserably, but here we go. You could go to the Google Drive link and put your picture of the week there, or if it's small enough, under 100 meg, you could use your email and you could submit it here at the bottom. And then they'll start showing up here in the AstroPow picture of the week voting as we get them. So that being said, congratulations to Greg. Congratulations.
Did you guys see his last comment that he's looking through a flattener?
That's
what?
Only if he's doing astrophotography is he going to need a flattener.
He is. He's using a 178 MC for photography.
Yeah, but right now he says no software.
No software. The flattener.
So
then
Oh no,
no.
You can't use a flattener as an eyepiece.
Yeah, no.
Can't use it as an eyepiece, bud. No. You're gonna have to go to the ZWO website. You can go there to right there. You can go to their, I believe it's their support. You go to the support tab and go to software. You can download some software from there at ASICAP or download SharpCap. It's free.
Yep.
There's going to, we're trying to help you out here. There's a lot of free software. You want to take your first astro photo. So you're going to need to get that. Going to need to download that to your laptop. Get everything hooked up. So we want to be able to help you get you through this process of doing your first astro photo.
And listen, Railfan and Ernie said, throw the question, throw all your info on the Discord channel. There's so many people on there all the time to help out. I mean, there's people. I mean, we have, I think, 55 people on there now, if I remember right. Let's see. 20.
Yeah, they're on there at all crazy kinds of hours.
Oh, crazy. But we have 57 people now on the Discord channel. And it's really starting to become a really good place for quick answers. So it's nice. It's nice. I know we're coming up on 10:15. And we do have to do the giveaway for tonight.
Go for it, man.
We got to do the giveaway for the Masters of Pixinsight giveaway. We have to do that tonight. So let me just update the wheel real quick. Because there was the last thing, of course, I forgot to do. So let me do that. See if you can give Railfan a little help on that while I do this.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. Railfan, Astro Puppet, which makes
Frankie.
Isn't it Tyler?
No, Astro Puppet is Frank, my buddy Frank.
That's Frank, sorry. But he makes a very good point. Find out if there are any astronomy clubs in your area or near you. There will be, we all start somewhere. You're starting from the beginning, it sounds like. They'll be more than happy to help you and answer a lot of the questions you have right there face to face versus what we're trying to do. So if I'm going here and let me just take this off here. If you're, and this isn't, this is just an example. So grab my guy here. This is a 91 millimeter. So a little bit bigger than yours. And this is a William Optics flattener. Okay. It's an adjustable one, just like your reducer. Okay. It's yours is a 0.8. This is just a straight 1X flattener. And it is adjustable so you can compensate. And since you're using that 48 the M48, then all you need to really do is you go on and you just screw this guy on in. And then you get that software that we were talking about, either SharpCap or ASICAP off of the ZWO website. And you hook that up to your you install that, hook that up to your laptop. And first thing I would say do is when you get this plugged into your USB 3 and you get this going, go through, and there's some auto settings that, point it up, because I'm not sure where you are, in correlation to, like geographically where you're located at. But get started, point it up to the night sky, set it to auto, especially in with SharpCap. You can set things to automatic, and it can start helping you set your automatic gain and exposure time, and start working and getting things into focus. So then that way you can at least start seeing, some objects, some stars, even airy disk or whatever. And then we can start helping you to figure it out through the Discord channel, what the next steps are going to be.
Right. So I just saw something funny, not funny, but I saw something kind of cool when I was just uploading the IP for AP Masters of Pixinsight giveaway.
Okay.
And going to share a screen for a second. Now, as you go through the names, right? Just recently, this must have happened. As you go through the names, and Eric, you watching? No, you're not even watching. You're killing me, bro. You're killing me.
Sorry,
Jeeves.
man. Sorry, man. I'm coming.
So when you go through the names and you get down to the bottom of the latest people that have actually entered, look who entered.
Amy.
Are you kidding me?
Amy, welcome to the group.
Amy.
So absolutely. So we're here to give away a free Masters of Pixinsight class, and their next class is coming up. The photons to photos, and Warren Keller is going to be showing everybody how to process M13 from a one-shot color setup. So from calibration. So we're not running, we're not. He's not running the WBPP, although he is using that. But it's from the calibration files all the way straight through to ICC profile at the end. So it's going to be kind of cool. So here we go for the IP for AP Masters of Pixinsight class coming up. Here we go. Watch Amy win.
That would be so funny.
And it looks like Michael Keith. Congratulations to Michael. And we will be sending you an email very, very soon, probably within the next 24 hours, to yourself and to Pete Proul, who runs the giveaways for Masters of Pixinsight and IP for AP. So congratulations to Michael Keith, and we'll get you that information ASAP. So nice job. Thanks for joining us on the wheel. Michael Keith.
Congratulations.
There we go. All right. And it's almost 10:20, man. I'm tired.
Yeah, it's getting about that time. I got to actually get the Edge 8 out onto the 60 so I can.
Oh, you're imaging tonight, huh?
I don't know if I'm imaging, but I'm going to try to do something.
Yeah, well, that's good. It's been pouring rain here for 2 days, so.
Can somebody in the viewer membership tell me, did the Leafs win tonight? I think they're leading 3-2, so the game should be over.
I'll tell you right now. NHL. So let's see. The Leafs final 5-2.
All right, they got one in Tampa. That's cool.
How did that happen?
It was just
3-2 with 8 minutes left.
Well, they probably had to get 2 empty net goals, I'm sure.
Either 2 empty or was one and then one. I don't know, but
yeah. All right, I tell you, I live for these next 2 months, man. I love this playoff hockey.
Well, Toronto leads 2-1. So
2-1.
And then you got what else? Stars beating the Flames. You got Avalanche beating the Predators, which is not a surprise. Bruins beating the Hurricanes, looking to tie the series. Oh no, wow. The final today. They cut the Carolina lead 2-1, and right now the Wild, 4 minutes left of the first period, is beating the Blues 2-1, 2-0.
When did we switch to the NHL network? When did this become an NHL network?
Because it's playoff season, and I have nothing to do. I have nothing to do because the Islanders aren't playing, so I got to live vicariously through others. So
the Hawks ain't playing either.
What?
The Hawks ain't playing either.
Nobody does Chicago even have a hockey team?
Eric, you gonna let me go with that? Oh man.
Hey, when's the last time
what
the Islanders won the cup?
Won the cup?
Oh,
when was the last time the freaking Blackhawks won the cup?
What was it? 2015.
Oh, that's right. They did with what's his face.
Just don't ask
Taves,
me that
right?
question.
I know. Hey, I know it was this century. I know it was this century.
Well, if we're counting the calendar century from when the Islanders, they've won within the last 100.
Well, they won back in
No.
73.
I don't in the
73 is
2000s.
when they started in 72. They didn't win in 73.
Oh, that's right. They didn't. It was 78 or 77.
79, 77.
Well,
77,
hold on a
78.
second, guys.
No,
King.
no. 79, 80, 80, 81, 82, 80, 82, 83 was the last one. So,
Hey, I was 12 years old when my father took me to the last time the Toronto Maple Leafs won it, and that was 67. So believe me, I'm in a drought. And I want to have, before I die, I want to have bragging rights for 1 year. That's all I ask. Just 1 year.
this may be the year.
Yeah, it could be.
Kane and Taze.
Well,
Solid
in all
success.
fairness, and on a complete way off the rail side note, like we haven't been there
Yeah,
already.
Yeah.
In October, my wife and I are planning to go to Toronto.
Oh, I tell you what, then I'm going to give you some places to go check out.
Well, I'm
you
just
driving
saying, Pete, you're a Toronto fan. Maybe, October, that's when the NHL starts, kind of, for
Starts
next
there.
year.
Yeah,
Maybe
that
you
does
want to
start.
fly and catch a game in Toronto with me? I don't know.
We could do that, but you know what? You got to go to the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Oh, I plan
You
on it.
gotta
I,
go
I plan
Hall
on
of
it.
Fame.
So, but
Absolutely.
the reason why I'm going there is because they are doing a night for Neil Peart in Toronto. And they were supposed to do it before COVID started, right after he
Got
died,
canceled.
and it got canceled. And I was going to go then, but now they're doing it again. They're doing it in Lakeside Park, which is also for you Rush fans out there is a Rush tune. It's called Lakeside Park, and they're doing this
Caress
whole
of
kind
Steel.
of they're doing a whole tribute for Neil, so it's going to be kind of cool. And I think I might be meeting up with Sean Nielsen there. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, you're going to have
That'd
to
be
get
nice.
Ron Breacher because he's up in Toronto.
He's not a Rush fan, but he will be an hour away, so I'm counting on having
he's up in
lunch or
Kitchener.
something.
He's in Kitchener, isn't he? Yeah, just real
Guelph,
close.
Guelph.
Guelph and Kitchener. Yeah, it's called Guelph Kitchener. It's real close. It's like Dallas Fort Worth.
Oh,
That's
fair enough.
how they are. They're that close.
Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Yep. We're off the rails, guys.
Yes, and that being said, we're
Pretty
coming
much.
up on 2.5 hours, so I think it's time to say, and
It's my time, guys.
I am going to come up with an off the rail graphic. I really am. I just haven't done it yet. It's literally just going to be like a splash. It's going to be like when we go off the rails. It's just going to be a trigger.
Hey, hold
Yep.
it, Dan. I got a question. Can you post that little link I sent to you on that YouTube video that I sent you in a text message? Can you post up so people can see it? Because it is pretty funny. That would be something to watch because people will get a joke out of that. They'll get a good laugh out of it.
Hold on a second. Let's see. And that's Pete Myers. And which, let's see. You need to post this on a chat forum. Okay. What, the Toronto thing?
Yeah, check it out. Watch it, though. It's funny.
I'll put it on the chat. I can do it right now from here because it's in a
absolutely.
text
That would be a
message.
treat. Watch this. The viewers will love this.
Hold on. This is so bad. Let's see. Copy. And we'll do it this way. Paste. There we go.
That video I was telling you about, Dan, the one from with Neil and Drumworks. It's called, by the way, I remember,
looked it up.
It's called Masters of Resonance.
Yep, I looked it up.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And let's see. Facebook, right? Yeah, I gotta go check that out. And Facebook takes forever.
Yeah,
to
and
load
for
up.
anybody that is in the chat that has never seen Neil play, you are
I agree with you, Mark.
living under a
We need
rock.
a graphic with a train wreck going off the rails.
Oh, it's
This is
coming.
what's
It's
happening
coming.
right now.
It's
This is what's
coming.
happening right
And
Now, every guy should have a pet like this.
is this safe to put online?
Oh, it is. Oh, it is.
Okay.
Absolutely, it is safe.
All right,
It's
so
funny
here we
to
go.
watch.
So here it is. And let's see. You have
There's
Oh,
no
audio?
I've seen
audio.
this one. It's very cute.
There's no audio?
No audio.
Hold on.
Yeah. Dog loses his mind. Yeah, I've seen this one. It's very cute.
Let's see. I don't know if I could do audio. Oh, you know what? I'm muted. That's why. Hold on a second. Unmute site. And
Like the dog's watching The Conjuring. I don't know if you've ever seen that one. That's hysterical.
You got to get the audio though. That's the best part about it.
Oh, you guys can't hear it?
No.
Oh, I don't know why it won't.
Oh, that's a shame.
And I don't think
Wait a minute. Hey, Dan, do you have to put the volume up on the?
I did.
on
I could hear it on here, and it's just not going from. I got to figure that out. Sorry, guys, but basically, somebody scored a goal when he fell off the couch, and it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Right anyway.
It's funny. All right, let's call this a wrap. How about that? Because we've lost 5 people just doing what we did. So.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Well, hey, you know what?
That's
it's the end of the night, and that's what we do. So, I guess to do a round robin final thoughts, and we're out. So, Scotty,
Neil Peart's the best drummer of all time.
agreed.
No, I'm sorry. I digress. Yeah, no, don't get too hung up on the tech and the hardware. You know, do yourself a favor. You know, get onto YouTube, go and spend some money on some books, you know, and learn about the hobby. Find out the principles of why we do what we do. You'll be much happier in the end.
Absolutely. RTFM.
Yep.
Eric.
Yep, I totally agree with that. We had a guest on, not just early, I think last month, Charlie Bracken, you know, Deep Sky Imaging Primer. Great book. One of my, you know, it's one of the very first ones I started out with. Don't get so hung up, you know, as Scott said, on the tech. If you have questions, share them on the Discord channel. Post them there, post photos, you know, stuff like that. If you need help, people are on there all the time. And don't get discouraged. And again, get a notebook, get a pencil, start taking notes. Take notes of almost every step, and remember, just take your time. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon, and it's going to take time to get all this stuff locked in. And once you do, then you'll be ready to move on to the next steps. But use the equipment, and don't be afraid. Use the equipment you got, even if it's a DSLR, even if it's a camera lens. That's where your start is, and start from there. And find that local astronomy club, and you know, and they'll help you out as well. So we're here to help you, but there's other people out here to help you as well.
Yep.
Mr. Pete.
Just like Eric was saying, and Scott, hone the skill set with the equipment that you've got, because you're going to learn by your mistakes, but you're going to grow by your successes. And believe me, don't keep up with the Joneses. Believe me, as you start to slowly advance and you get a little bit more disposable money, you'll start to kind of hone your skill set. You're going to start to increase the higher quality of your equipment. And then you're going to start to see how you just will take off with your post-processing, because good data, garbage in, garbage out. So you got to get the best data that you possibly can, because you know what? You can only put so much lipstick on a pig. You can't do much with anything with bad garbage. So believe me, just hone your skill set with what you got right
now. Oh man! All I gotta say, even though you put lipstick on a pig, everything's better with bacon, so it doesn't matter. So, so anyway, I really don't have any final thoughts. I have no thoughts to begin with. I have no thoughts to end with. So, everybody, have a good night. Have a great weekend. Have an awesome Mother's Day for you mothers out there.
Yes. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day for
to,
everybody.
You know, my beautiful wife, you know, and and my stepmoms. I love you all. Happy Mother's Day to all of the moms out there.
Oh, that was so sweet.
You know, thank you for all you guys have done. Because
you're gonna make me cry.
Thank you for all you guys have done, because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you know, keep the growth coming, keep the people coming, spread the word, spread the love, get more people involved.
Caring is caring. Caring is sharing.
Absolutely. And everybody, have a good night. And as always, remember, keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And we'll see you in a couple days. We'll see you on Wednesday. Have a good night, everybody.
Take notes.
Take notes. Take notes.
See you, everybody.